coming formally to her introduction, she has worked 1997 से career इन्होंने शुरू किया, and she has worked as software analysis with XRT CERG Incorporation, USA, and is a faculty member in SS शहीद सुखदेव College. और वहाँ पे आप मैम कब से हैं?
2001 से.
2001 से, so 13 years, almost
23 years.
23 years. हाँ 23 years. मैं 2011 से कंफ्यूज हो गई. चेहरा भी आपका बताता नहीं है ये. इनको असिस्ट करेंगे रवि यादव जी भगत सिंह कॉलेज से हैं और अमित कुमार शहीद सुखदेव कॉलेज से ही हैं. सो आई वुड और इसमें ये हैंड्स ऑन एक्सपीरियंस देना चाहती हैं मैम, क्योंकि उसके बिना आप लोगों का अधूरा रहेगा नॉलेज. So kindly pay attention and be interactive wherever required. और online participants अपना वीडियो ऑन रखिएगा और ऑडियो ऑफ रखिएगा. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to everybody.
Ma'am, this camera will show you.
So good afternoon to everybody, all the participants who are here, and all the participants. Is it and all the participants who are online. I think it's a very good thing that you're doing it in a blended mode.
Yeah.
Because that is the best use of our infrastructure. So what we are doing today is, so the topic said introduction to IT skills. However, IT skills is too vast, right? So we thought, let us focus on one area, which is real-time collaboration. I think we are all working in offices and we all work in teams. One of the major benefits today of digital environment, of digital literacy, of digital infrastructure is the fact that sitting on our seats, we should be able to collaborate with each other, right? So, and collaboration is one thing and real-time collaboration is another. So we are going to focus on Google's initiatives to build a collaborative environment today, and we will introduce some of those components. You may be aware of some of them. So we will maybe tell you about some things in brief and some things in more detail. The idea is that in our offices, like we are also working in practically in an office, we should be able to continue working without having to break no matter where we are, depending upon requirement, right? And real-time collaboration, the idea says, I may not be sitting right in front of you. However, I should be able to work even remotely as if I'm sitting right in front of you. Right? So we will start from there. Would you like to start?
We start with Google, right?
Okay. So,
I just started.
University of Delhi को ही आप कर दीजिए तो.
Yeah.
University of Delhi को ही भेज रहा है. शेयर हो रहा है.
अच्छा, it is going to.
आप रीस्टार्ट कर लीजिए क्योंकि हैंग.
In the meanwhile, I think all of you would have logged into your Gmails, right? So from Gmails, you know how to open your Google Drive, all of you. And we will start working with Google Drive. From there, we will go to the various components of Google Drive. Is there anybody there online or otherwise who will not know how to open the Google Drive?
आप लोग सब लोग जानते हैं. Online participants, all of you are aware of how to open Google Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So we will start by opening our Google Drive. We will start by creating a folder on it. So we will show you anyways how to create a folder and how to use it.
Atman, ये भी you could. This is a smart board. If you want,
I can use it directly from there also.
Start with uploading files.
So we will start with uploading of files. Now, I think most of you are on the laptops, right? So on the laptop, let us try and find any one file, or we can just create one small text file, right? We will start by uploading it online, right? We can go forward from this side, most of it. The online participants can write messages in case they are not comfortable with what is happening here, and we will be addressing that.
Should I directly go to the drive?
Yeah, directly.
Online participants, if you have some query, you can write it in the chat box. They will be addressed.
Noted, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Let's please.
I'm coming.
So what we are doing right now is we are simply creating any one file if you don't already have it, and we are going to upload it on Google Drive, right?
Starting from here.
So once we have uploaded that on Google Drive, we can always open it and see, but we'll come to that later. Another way is to create a folder. अगर उस पे वर्क नहीं कर रहा है, हम अपने फोन पे भी कर सकते हैं. Because anyways, that is the beauty of real-time collaboration.
आपके वाले पे भी.
Internet
Wi-Fi. अच्छा, ठीक. So the next thing we want to talk about is creating a folder. It is easier to organize our files there on Drive, right? Just like we organize on our laptops. So we want to create a folder on Google Drive, right? So we'll just show you.
स्क्रीन पे कर रहे हैं अगर आप.
हाँ, वो step by step.
आप स्क्रीन पे देखें.
So new. We are creating a new folder. We will create a new folder by clicking there.
और जीमेल से ड्राइव में ले जाना होता है.
वो भी बता देते हैं. So this is a very popular icon, the 9 dots, right? Wherever you see this, it means it's a drop down. It will give all the features of Google. Phone में भी same होएगा. The interface of Google is the same on any device.
फोन में अगर आप यूज कर रहे हो तो उसमें नहीं आएगा, लेकिन अगर
नहीं, उसमें ड्राइव में जाके आ जाएगा ना.
हाँ ड्राइव में जाता
अच्छा, वो भी बता. हाँ, ठीक है. मोबाइल में ड्राइव अलग से है.
सेपरेट ऐप फॉर एवरीथिंग इन द फोन.
ये ड्राइव हो गया. 9 डॉट्स के बाद you click on that. आप बोलते ही मैं क्लिक कर.
ठीक.
आप बस देखते जाइए स्क्रीन पे. क्लियर हुआ.
अच्छा, क्या चीज क्लियर नहीं हुई?
फोन में
अगर फोन में जाना है तो मैं बता. फोन में ना आपके पास गूगल आइकन
ये इसका आइकन हो गया.
ये ड्राइव नहीं. अपन गूगल आइकन पे चला जाएगा. दैट इज द इजीएस्ट. गूगल आइकन. Now you are on Drive. Phone is even more easier because we have different apps. So this is showing you your recent file, right? So I can see my storage also from this. So we can either create a folder or we can create a file. So we can folder create. Once we create इससे हम upload करेंगे. We will create. तो अगर हमें एक file create करनी है, हम यहाँ से हाँ, इसको install करेंगे. Anybody else who's not able to? This is okay.
Google Drive open हो गया है सबसे.
They're still doing it. So once your Google Drive is open, right? On the phone, the difference is that for everything there'll be an app, right? On the laptop, it is an integrated environment which is accessible via these 9 dots, right? Okay, so once we are in the Google Drive, we will create a folder because it is always easier to organize that way.
There is a plus sign. You click on that.
And you do a new folder.
The very first option is new folder. It will ask the name. we'll just put a training workshop. And you click on create. So it has created a new folder, training workshop. You can see over here, the highlighted folder.
अच्छा अच्छा Okay, so once we have created this folder, now we will go to the next step. So we are going to try and see how a Google Doc works, how we can use it effectively in a collaborative environment. Similarly, for other things we will see.
So we upload first desired file.
वो हमने इससे पहले कर दिया ना, उसकी जगह let us go to Google Docs.
Google
Doc. Now, once we have created a folder or we have created files, we may want to share the same with others. Otherwise, how will we collaborate, right? So the idea of sharing is what we will cover. So the easiest, so once we have created a folder, we can share the entire folder. Whatever we add to that folder later also will automatically be shared with the same participants. So that is what I do normally. So I create a folder, suppose I wanted to work for this training. I created a folder by that name and I shared it with my colleagues who are here today. And whatever we were changing, adding was getting shared with each one of us. So that makes our life easier because we don't have to share it over and over again. So that is what Amit is doing.
So we have 3 dots.
यहाँ पे भी एक एग्जांपल इन लोगों ने इनफैक्ट यूज किया है
जी.
We created a Google Excel file in
Right.
which they themselves corrected the data.
Yeah, so that is what the collaboration is all about. Yes, correct.
So on these 3 dots, when we click, it will give you an option.
Share. To share, yeah. Share.
Share.
Left to share. Now there are various features about sharing, which we will just go through. So one simplest way to share is to write the Gmail of the person with whom we want to share, right? And we can give them different access. Many times we do not want editors access, as in we want to share with somebody, but we do not want them to change anything in the data, right? So we will give viewers access to them.
For example, you can Shikha ma'am's ID. Now here on the right side, we have editor. If you click on this drop down, you can see we have viewer. So I am not that effective.
That is why this question is.
So by default, it's showing editor. But let's say you don't want the person to edit the folder, just view the folder. कोई change ना कर पाए, ठीक है? So then in that sense, just click on the drop down. You can click on viewer, select viewer. Now when you share this folder, this person can only view the contents of the folder.
And any changes will be made available in real time. So this is important. So if I'm changing right now, and if you are viewing that folder right now, you will be able to see it almost simultaneously, right? But only view.
Icon is not appearing in smartphone. It means when I put somebody's email ID,
तीन ऑप्शंस होते हैं, कमेंटर, एडिटर और व्यूअर. कमेंट कर सकते हैं आप, व्यू के साथ आप कमेंट भी कर सकते हैं. एडिटर में कि वो फाइल्स को डिलीट भी कर सकता है, ऐड भी कर सकता है, फोल्डर को पूरी तरह से चेंज कर सकता है. यहाँ पे नोटिफाई पीपल उनको एक मेल चला जाएगा. ये नोटिफाई पीपल मैं चाहूँ तो यहाँ पे कुछ मैसेज भी लिख सकता हूँ. व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस फोल्डर. यहाँ पे एक मैसेज लिख दिया कि दिस फोल्डर इज रिगार्डिंग दिस पर्पस और दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग.
So the notification is good because even if you don't write anything,
so when I click send, आपका email ID ओपन है.
हाँ मेरा ओपन है.
If I click send,
एक्चुअली स्लो चल रहा है, वो अभी भी ना उस पे है. शेयर आएगा. हाँ
सेंड कर दिया.
ये वाला जो है ये सेंड आएगा. अच्छा लास्ट ये वाला मैंने कर दिया.
अब मैं मैम का email ID
Actually, the good thing is if you use it like that, even if you don't write a message, the link of that folder is going to that person's email, right? And it stays there. So suppose I received this link, but I don't use it immediately, and I need it 2 days later. That link is still there.
अमित कुमार वाया गूगल आ गया मेल मैम
रिफ्रेश नहीं हुआ कोई बात नहीं ये आई थिंक दिस इज ओके राइट तो अच्छा ऑनलाइन को नहीं ऑनलाइन को शायद दिख रहा है ये यहाँ पर हमें नहीं आ रहा यार इसमें ही है
Online participants, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So is the sharing part okay for you? Yes. For the
Yes,
online
ma'am.
participants? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
In sharing, there are some other options also. Suppose I want to share with a bigger group. Suppose I want to share with 30 people and I don't want to type all their email IDs, right? Another way to share is this. This is not visible, right? Unshare the share. Update name. कौन सा folder share? वो उसका लिंक आया ना मेरे पास अगर मैं आपको अपनी ईमेल दिखाऊंगी तो आपने जो मुझे भेजा उसका मुझे लिंक आएगा जब मैं वो लिंक पर क्लिक करूंगी तो वो फोल्डर खुल जाएगा हाँ अभी एम्प्टी है अब जैसे जैसे आप डालेंगे वैसे वैसे मुझे वो दिखता जाएगा जब जब आपने डाला
ये प्रॉब्लम ना इनके इंटरनेट का है
हाँ
मेरे इंटरनेट का नहीं
हाँ नहीं वो तो यहीं पे
मैं बार-बार रीशेयर भी करूंगा उससे तो करनी पड़ेगी इनका इंटरनेट अपडेट नहीं कर रहा अभी तक नहीं हुआ क्योंकि मैंने शेयर कर दिया
शेयरिंग में नेक्स्ट ऑप्शन हम बताते हैं ना लोग ट्राई कर लेंगे है ना The next option in sharing is rather than entering email ID of each person to get a link that can be shared with the people. So what we can do is we can generate a link and we can send that link to everybody. For example, many times we may have a WhatsApp group, right? And we do not want to write the email IDs for 25 participants. So what we do is we generate a link, share that link on our WhatsApp group. And the option says that whoever has the link only will be able to see that folder, right? Now that is also very useful, especially when you're working with short deadlines, right? So you quickly create a folder and quickly share a link amongst a small group of people. Right?
शेयर पे जाना है
वो दिख नहीं रहा है
ये डायरेक्टली किसी उससे नहीं कनेक्ट हो जाएगा
ये आप इसमें लॉगिन कर लीजिए
हाँ वो भी ठीक है।
इसमें लॉगिन कर
मेरे में इसमें folder
आप मेल चला रहे हो
हाँ।
उसमें लॉगिन कर लीजिए
ठीक है बताइए
इससे आप एग्जिट हो जाइए
इससे ग्रुप से
Zoom से
जूम से
और आप इसमें लॉगिन कर लीजिए
जी कर दिया
ईमेल है ना
जीमेल है
ले लीजिए आप लॉगिन कर लीजिए
नए अकाउंट पे लॉगिन कर लो आप ये कह रहे हो
यहाँ से नहीं, इसमें से
इससे not to share
आप लॉगिन करके शेड्यूल चेक कर
हाँ मेरे को Okay. In the meanwhile, what we can do is in the folder that we created, let us create a Google Doc. So what we will do is there is a plus sign. On mobile, there will be a plus sign at the bottom. Right. There is a plus which says a new with it, right? So we can create a Google Doc.
इस पे काम कर पाओ
काम तो
On the mobile, we will have to install the app for it, which is Google Doc. जब हम plus new करेंगे तो वो अपने आप बोलेगा कि install करना.
ये डायरेक्टली इसके साथ HDMI केबल से नहीं कनेक्ट हो सकता ये डायरेक्टली HDMI केबल से नहीं कनेक्ट हो सकता क्योंकि ये तो करता है
बोले आप यहाँ प्रैक्टिस
So these are our Google Docs. Once your app is installed, let us hit the plus sign and create a new.
शेयर नहीं कर
So this is a new Google Doc. Now let's
चला ही नहीं
अच्छा पास
HDMI cable वाला। मैं वो PPT भी डाल दूंगा।
मैं पहले शेयर करेंगे
बता दिया।
ये फर्स्ट
ये आपका ही
हाँ ये बात
आप देख रहे हैं सर आप देख रहे हैं
इसी में लाइट को भेज
दोबारा कर लीजिए दूसरा कर लीजिए
दूसरा खोलो
देख रहा है सर
आपने स्क्रीन शेयरिंग किया है फुल स्क्रीन शेयरिंग
हाँ स्क्रीन शेयरिंग ऑलरेडी तो उनको भी दिख रहा होगा PPT बस
नीचे नीचे से
आप लॉग इन कर लेते हैं ना सर आप लॉग इन आप लॉग
पहले ही
इन
कर लेना चाहिए
पता नहीं करा
हाँ ओके नाउ दिस इज गुड
ये नीचे क्यों हो रहा है देखिए इसको हटा दीजिए
ये तो आएगा ही
नहीं कोई बात नहीं ठीक है
इसको रादर ऊपर कर दीजिए
प्लीज शेयर द स्क्रीन कैसे
मेरे को नहीं आ रहा
जी ये तो उसका आ रहा है ना सर आपके आपको एज अ पार्टिसिपेट आ रहे हैं होस्ट पे आप देख रहे हैं
now we can do it for the online participants sorry for this but is the screen now okay and visible
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
okay then let's start it. Who has the mouse? You have the mouse? Can I have the mouse instead of you?
एक और मार्क्स था ना अपना
Thank you.
अच्छा आपके पास
Okay, so we are on share.
एक सेकंड देखने का
Evet, tapos yung duplicate start. Accurate one उसका सुबह.
कौन है
All the online
Mr. Javed Khan,
participants
please
are
mute.
requested to kindly mute their speaker.
दिख रहा है सर
All right, thank you. Yes. Okay, so let us go back to sharing. Right? So let us try to share the folder that we just created. Okay. So this is one folder that I had already created. I will show you the sharing. Right. So if I want to share, there are many ways to share, right? I'm showing you one of the ways. So this is the folder. I will click here and I can see the share option, right? Now, one way that I said was that I write the name, the email ID of the person that I want to share with. That is, of course, one way. Another way to share is that really bothered. I would like to create a link, right? So I can just say copy link from here, right? And I can use the link that is copied maybe in a mail to share with the people that I want to share this folder with, right? So that is one thing. Okay. We will go to the Google Doc option now. I have to keep doing this, right? So let us start by creating a Google Doc, okay? On the mobile, you will have to create an app, you will have to download an app to be able to use that. So we are starting from there. The first thing to do is to find this plus sign, right? Now, if you see on this, you can see this sign here, right? I can create a Google Doc from here. From new document, right? Now, this is the option which asks me that this folder is already shared with X number of people. And whatever I create will also be shared, right? So it is ensuring that I'm okay with that. So I create and I share. And I can see this new Google Doc. So is there anybody who is uncomfortable till this point creating a Google Doc? This is okay, right? Now I can name this document from here, right? So I can just change the name to whatever I want. Okay. Now, the first two things that you can see, suppose I want to create meeting notes, right? I have a meeting which is already there in my Google Calendar. And while I am attending that meeting, I also want to create some notes, right? So if I do this, let me create here winner. Shall we do that? Okay. So let us start first by creating a calendar event. Okay, so we are opening the calendar. And we are creating a new event. You can see the plus create. Now I'm creating an event here. Right? This event I'm titling as now we can see in an event, we can do all this, right? So we can add a Google Meet conferencing link also, right? And we can also add the people here. So if I want, I can simply add some people here and the information of the meeting and any changes also. So suppose I say the meeting is scheduled at 12 o'clock. However, later on, I change it to 12:15. So if I've shared it with 5 people, when I change the time, that information will go automatically to those 5 people. So I don't have to call them and tell them that I've changed the meeting time, right? So once I've done that, so let's save it. So this is the event that I just created for today. Now I go there. So I have to create a new event. Now if I say meeting notes, So you can see the event. I can pick this event. And now I can start typing. So whatever notes I'm typing here will become visible through the calendar there in the meeting notes. Right? So that is how this entire information is integrated like that, right? So we can type some. Which is happening right now. So you want me to show the comments now?
Share part. I will share.
So we'll go back to the PPT. Okay. So I think this document is okay, right? So we want to now collaborate with this document. Sharing is done. So the comments, we want to do comments, right?
We'll have to share it.
But how will you, your screen?
Share it. My screen is not visible, but we'll be able to see the comments.
Now I want to share this, but it is already shared with you. Yeah. The meeting link document. So you can see this particular document is shared with Amit, right? So now we are going to collaborate on this document, right? And see how things are.
You drive folder.
Drive folder. Can you see?
Google Doc जो है share.
The name is December 13, 2023.
Ah.
So using this name, he is able to open this document. Now you can see, right? Can you see this A? This shows that Amit has logged in. And whatever he is doing, I will be able to see here.
I will just type something.
So type. So you can see this person. This is Amit Kumar. Right? My person here is here.
If more than one user can.
Yes, any number of
Any
users.
number.
There is no restriction on the number of users who may be working on one document at one point of time.
So you can prepare a mess tender, a printing tender on a Google Doc. And let's say a number of people are actually working on preparing it. So people can, we will show you that any changes made by anyone will be visible to everyone at the same time. At the same time. And who has done it will also be visible.
That is very important. We'll show you that.
So let's say now I'm typing, man is not typing.
See, I'm not typing, right?
Yeah. So
you can watch this cursor. So he may be sitting wherever, and I may be sitting wherever. But whatever changes he is doing, I can see in real time.
So this is, yes, I have typed. Yes, I editor.
He has to be an editor, yes. A viewer will not be able to type all this. Right? This is making sense? Yes. For the online participants also, hope this is okay.
So in our purchase committee, we generally prepare tenders on a Google Doc every time. जैसे मैम परचेज कमेटी में बहुत बार रहती है मेरे से मैं एज अ जूनियर कलर कोडिंग हो जाता है।
हाँ जी हाँ वो ऊपर से पता चल जाता है
ऊपर से
उसका जो सर्कल का जो कलर है उस कलर का कर्सर आता है
अब इसके कमेंट्स नेक्स्ट इज आपकी पीपीटी।
So we go to the next point in this in collaboration. Suppose I want to, I'm checking something and maybe Amit is not online right now, right? And I want to leave some comments for him so that when he is online, he should be able to see them and make those changes, right? So we can do that. So whatever comments I am leaving, he can check and accordingly maybe modify the document, right? So we are now doing that. So you can see this plus sign that is there, right? So I will just show this to you there. Can you see this add comment sign? Yes. So now can you see here, my cursor is here, right? And I'm adding a comment there, right? I will add one and then you will respond to it.
Yes.
So this is a comment I'm adding. I'm saying that whatever you've written is too brief, right? So I posted that comment and you can see it is there. Now the comment will show the time and the date also at which this comment is posted.
So it is visible to me on my screen. It says Shikha Gupta, time is there today, and says this is too brief. Now I can go, the moment you go on your laptop on this, right, and click on that, there's an option to reply.
You send me and I will reply.
So now the moment I click on Shikha Gupta name over here on my Google Doc, so it says reply or add others. So I'll just reply. So I'll type the comment and I'll just click on reply and then ma'am will show it to me. Can you see?
So whatever he typed on his end as a reply to my comment is now available here, right? And now if I
Ma'am will
want to
reply. Ma'am किस पे से reply करेगी? Similarly, I reply.
see here.
Go on my name and click. Name पे जैसे ही click किया, reply का option आ गया.
Now I can reply on this.
Same चीज मेरे में आया था.
Right?
And let's say it is done now. I've made it more elaborate. I've made the changes. So these comments are no more relevant, right? So anyone can simply go over here. When you see this tick sign, so it says mark as resolved and hide discussions. So this discussion is no more relevant because I've already done what ma'am has asked me to do. मैंने कर दिया सब कुछ. तो अब मैं इस पे done click करूंगा तो ये गायब हो जाएगा.
ये आर्काइव में रहेगा कि
Yeah,
गायब में?
archive में रहेगा.
Archive में रहेगा.
You can see. You can always go back and see. The beauty of this is that there's audit trail also, as in, right? So whoever has done whatever at whatever point, we can go back, look at all the history. We can also go back to a version. Suppose some changes were made, and for some reason we would like to undo all those changes, right? So all the changes that happened today, we want to undo, and we want to go back to a version that was yesterday, right? So we can do that here. So we'll just show you how to do that. But the commenting part is okay.
So इसमें एक फायदा ये भी होता है जैसे हम लोग जनरली अगर वर्ड डॉक पे बना रहे हैं तो हम एक दूसरे को देते रहते हैं पेन ड्राइव पे या मेल करते हैं, वो फिर चेंज करता है, फिर दूसरे को मेल करता है, बीच में किसी ने कुछ चेंज कर दिया तो स्पेशली ऑफिसेज में होता है मैंने नहीं किया था, ये वाला पार्ट तो मैंने नहीं किया था. गूगल डॉक पे आपको किसी को कुछ ब्लेम करने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो डायरेक्टली दिखा देगा किसने किया था.
And more than that, what is very important is mistakes are-
I'm doing the same thing from yesterday.
नहीं अब आप ये use करिएगा sir. The main thing is that it is easy to go back. Many times we are not able to recover after changes, right? So if you want to recover the old document after changes, that is what we need to do, right? We are able to do that. So shall we show that?
नेक्स्ट पीछे देख लीजिए उसी से.
Okay, so this we have done. Reply, we just showed you. Version history, right? So let us go to version history. So you click on this file, and you can see the version history here, right? Now, if I click on this, you can, there are two things that we can do. One, we can see the version history, and second, we can name the current version. So many times when we are building a document and it is a complex document, we would like to name one portion and say, okay, this is all good, right? Any changes that happen later, let us see what happens. So I can name it also. But if we just see the version history, you can see that first, okay, so what does this say? This says, this says that I started by creating it, right? After that, this version where I also made some changes and Amit also made some changes, right? Now, if you see the version document, you will see colored portions. So whatever I had made, any smallest of change, even a space insertion, it will be colored with green, right? And whatever Amit had made will be colored with purple. Now, if you look at a document like that, the maintenance of audit trail is extremely easy, right? Suppose I say I don't like that version, I want to go back to that version. So I can click here. And I can say restore this version. It is going to remove all the changes that happened afterwards and come back to this version. Is this making sense? So we are back where we were. Suggesting. Okay. The last thing that we want to do in this section is the idea of suggestion, right? So one is of course adding comments, right? Another is within the document I can suggest something. So for example, if I say, so this is the suggest edits. You can see the button here. So I will click on this. Now I will start typing here.
Let's say the time is wrong. Let's say, and she is suggesting the correct time. तो मैम वहाँ पे cursor ले जाके click कर सकते हैं, ऐसा box बनता चला जाएगा.
Right? So you will see that this will come in a different color. And if I click on this, it will be in a box to show that this is where I have suggested some change. Right? So this is the second thing. Once so it comments here. Once, suppose Amit corrects it. So once he does it, I can say that, okay, now this is an accepted. Please do it. You accept.
So 3:30, let's say I've done 3:15. I say done, ma'am. I've replied.
Right? Now I will see this and I will say, okay, this is all done. So I will accept the changes, the suggestion. Once I do that, that green thing is gone. That green text is now disappeared. Why it has disappeared is because it is only suggestive, right? It is not a part of the main document.
Chat history.
अच्छा, यहीं से दिखा रहे हैं? Now, the next thing within the documents, if there are more than one people working online at the same time, you can chat. So one way is, of course, to open our WhatsApps and chat there. One way is to chat with the document. Right? So, shall we start? So I'm writing here. Since Amit is online, we can see, right? So I just wrote a message to him. So this is live environment. With the document, we can work with, right? Okay. The document is okay. I think this is okay, right? The other things are possible to explore.
यहाँ पे बस दिखा सकते हैं. So I think these options are there.
You want to go back to the document, right?
Just like a normal Word document, a lot of options are there. You can change the font, the display font, right? Then you can change the font style, size. All these things are there in a normal Word document. ये सारा कुछ होता है. तो exactly सब कुछ यहाँ नहीं होता है, but मोटा-मोटी जो जरूरत चीजें होती है, वो यहाँ पे भी है. आप उस हिसाब से टाइम्स न्यू रोमन करना चाहते हैं, टाइम्स न्यू रोमन कर दीजिए. You want to make the size 12 कर दीजिए. यहाँ से डिस्प्ले बढ़ाना है, इन सब ऑप्शंस पे अगर आप जाएंगे वो आप जैसे ही कर्सर ले जाएंगे वो दिखा देगा उसका काम क्या है.
One,
You can explore it.
one more very important thing is the autosave. Right?
ऑटोमेटिकली ये सेव करता है, कंट्रोल एस प्रेस करने की जरूरत नहीं.
There are times where your internet connection breaks and you lose 10 seconds of typed data. Most of the time it doesn't happen, right? So we just need to be careful that it is auto saving all the time, right?
If we have pressed control S, actually हमें habit होती है हर word के
उससे
साथ.
फायदा नहीं होता.
नहीं कुछ और तो नहीं हो जाएगा.
कुछ नहीं होता. वो मेरा भी हाथ control S पे जाता है, but it doesn't have any effect on it, but it doesn't do any harm also. So I think this is we have done. You want to do Google Forms?
So for creating a Google form, same way you can go to Gmail, and here we have.
Should we rather
Create a Google Form.
Create a
Google form because
Is it okay? Shall we show you how to create a
Yes,
Google
yes,
Form?
and
so there are two ways.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding the previous one.
Yes, please.
How do we generate the final document?
Okay. So, now there are various formats that we can have. Suppose I want to generate a final document, which is a doc document, right? And I want to save it maybe or give it to somebody else. So we have a download option. We'll just show you.
Go to file. Yes, go to file. Then we have option of download, and different formats are given here. In which format you want to download it.
Okay.
Basically, this is a Word document, so we can download it with the Microsoft Word .doc.
Okay.
Actually, the good thing about this is, normally when I do this, I download and keep a PDF of it. The PDFs generated by Google Docs are much better than the PDFs generated by Word. You will see the quality is different. Because
Ma'am, are the documents so generated editable?
they are editable. So what if you are generating a doc, you are downloading a doc, it will be editable. It will be just like any other Microsoft Word document, right?
Okay.
But
Thank
PDF
you.
quality is better. If you
Thank
see
you very much.
Adobe PDF, Adobe PDF has a good quality, right? So PDF can be generated by various softwares, right? Google Doc, the PDF it generates is much better than what is generated by Microsoft Word. So if you look at the print quality.
And the corrections and other things so made until the final document is generated, the Google Drive keeps a trail of all these things.
Yes.
Okay.
And the document stays on Google Drive till you physically delete it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Any other question? So then we'll go back to creating a Google form, right? So Google form is something which these days we use a lot in colleges and everywhere else. Colleges, especially, you send a Google form to the students for filling up the information. Let's say for printing their iCards.
आपने भी किया होगा यूज शायद
हम अपने एम्प्लॉइज को भी सेंड करते हैं कि आप अपना आई कार्ड एम्प्लॉय आई कार्ड के लिए सारा डिटेल्स फिल कर दो या कुछ अपडेट करना है. फॉर एग्जांपल टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ एवरी फाइनेंशियल ईयर हम उनसे उनके सेविंग्स का वो मांगते हैं. तो पहले क्या सिस्टम था कि वी ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू आस्क गिव अस द फिजिकल डॉक्यूमेंट. एक फॉर्म प्रिंट करके देते थे, आप अपना सेविंग्स उसमें लिख दो एंड उसके साथ सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स दे दो. अब इन सबको करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. आप गूगल फॉर्म से ही सारा कुछ फिल करवा लो, उसी में वो अपना डॉक्यूमेंट भी अटैच कर देगा, चाहे आई कार्ड से रिलेटेड हो चाहे टैक्स रिटर्न से रिलेटेड हो. एंड एवरीथिंग विल बी देयर इन द ड्राइव. एक जगह आपके पास होगा, आपको फाइल क्रिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. जिस चीज का प्रिंट निकालना है बस आप उसी चीज का प्रिंट निकालो. सो इट्स हेल्पफुल इन अ लॉट ऑफ वेज. हम लोग तो मोस्टली क्विज के लिए यूज करते हैं, बच्चों का टेस्ट लेने के लिए, बिकॉज आंसर्स एकदम से आ जाते हैं और करेक्ट होके भी आ जाता है. तो अगर आपस में आप लोग क्विज कर रहे हैं, लेट्स से कोई ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम के बाद, अगेन गूगल फॉर्म इज वेरी नाइस बिकॉज the examiner's effort is reduced by a huge quantum. आपको कुछ चेक नहीं करना, आंसर पहले बता दिया, ऑटोमेटिकली सारा आंसर चेक होके मार्क्स.
एक और बात है, गूगल फॉर्म का इट इज अ easy tool to collect data. But whatever data we have collected, we don't want to stop there, right? We want to analyze the data. So whatever data we have collected, it allows us the tools to analyze it. So we'll show you how, right? Another thing with this is, if I want to just save the data in a spreadsheet format, it allows me to do that with a click of a button, right? So the collection, the management of data, the storage, and also the analysis, they all happen by one thing. So that is how we end up using it a lot. So we'll start.
Same way, like we have opened the other apps.
9 dots.
In phone, you have to download the Google form.
If anybody
So
needs
there is
help,
a separate apps for all these options which we are showing here. कि phone में Android में आपको download करना पड़ेगा. So you go to form. Yes.
Play Store में क्या download करना पड़ेगा?
Google form.
Google.
So here we have platform. Will allow us to open a new form. I'm starting from here.
So you have to title the form, provide the title of the form, whether it's a tax return collection form, whether it's a iCard information form or employee form, whatever it is.
Whatever you want to give
उस
it
पे क्लिक
title.
करिए और टाइप करिए. कर दो please. Let's see.
You see.
ठीक है.
That really forms are.
Yes, ma'am. Google form.
This forms are. Google Drive, open Google Drive.
So here we have the description. Let's say whatever is the title you want to describe in 1 or 2 lines, you can describe it here. जैसे हम टेस्ट वगैरह देते हैं, so this test will be for this particular subject, right? This many of marks. So everything you can
छोटा सा कुछ so that towards the end will show you the appearance, whatever information you are typing over there, what is the appearance of.
एक्चुअली हमारे फील्ड से रिलेटेड तो बैचलर एजुकेशन फॉर्म कर दीजिएगा.
हाँ.
मैं तो पेमेंट लेती हूँ, इससे सेमिनार वेबिनार टीचर्स अरेंज करते हैं, तो पेमेंट मुझसे पूछते हैं कितने लोगों की आ गई, तो मैं उनको उसी टाइम फॉर्म बनवा लेती हूँ, सेम टाइम जब वो रजिस्ट्रेशन कर रहे हैं.
तो लेट्स से हम रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर्म बनाते हैं, यहाँ पे रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर्म.
सर फीस लिख के साथ अटैच करके आ जाता है मुझे.
वो सारा दिखाएंगे, अटैचमेंट वो करके दिखाएंगे. इसको लिखो रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर्म. यहाँ पे देख लो.
अब टाइटल कर.
Please fill in the information required. Which we have the description. Now the next thing would be, what would be the next question? आप
Name.
information क्या ले रहे हैं? Right. Let's say the first question is name. ठीक है. तो यहाँ
so
पे
we have different options.
यहाँ पे पहले add question कर दिया है.
हाँ, वो
Question
कर
is already possible.
अच्छा.
So if you want to collect
Short answer.
short terms,
So name should be a short answer, right? Naturally. So we pick that. Right.
Scroll करो नीचे. Now make it a required question. यानी बिना name fill किए कोई form submit कर ही ना पाए. यहाँ पे ये by default on है because settings में ये on है. आप इसको off भी कर सकते हैं. हम अभी जाएंगे settings.
So we are keeping this required. To be added on that.
yes, yes.
हाँ. अब next question. So next question.
ये जो प्लस साइन है, इससे we add a new question.
प्रीफिक्स अगर लगाना.
हाँ, prefix. अच्छा. You want to add a prefix which is a drop down.
Yeah.
वो अभी सारा ऑप्शन एक एक करके दिखाएगा. सारा ऑप्शन दिखाएगा. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन में जाओ. लेट्स से
Right sentence.
नेक्स्ट ऑप्शन में जैसे नेम पूछा.
Next question.
हाँ, जेंडर. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन में डालना जेंडर. यहाँ पे ड्रॉप डाउन डाल सकते हैं, मल्टीपल चॉइस भी करके दिखाते हैं.
First we do the multiple choice. So there will be
First option will be male. Second option will be female. Third option. ठीक है.
so by clicking outside you can see they have to select
Appearance में भी आएगा.
these one,
But
either one of them.
either one of them, but there is a यहाँ पे डालो.
Required or not?
Required or not.
वो तो ठीक है.
ये इस टॉगल पे क्लिक करो.
Go to section based answer.
Let's say you have कुछ ऐसा कई बार होता है ना कि अगर मेल है तो उससे कुछ और इन्फॉर्मेशन लेना है, या let's say एम्प्लॉय एक कैटेगरी एम्प्लॉय तो उससे कुछ और इन्फॉर्मेशन लेना है, तो उसमें क्या होता है कि सेम सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस नहीं होते हैं. सो इन दैट सिचुएशन अगर वैसा फॉर्म है आपका, तो आप यहाँ पे ये जो टॉगल है रिक्वायर्ड वाला, उसके साइड में 3 डॉट्स है,
This one.
these 3 dots. You click on that. It says go to, it gives you an option, go to section based on answer. Just click on that.
भी आएगा नहीं sections.
Yeah, we have not created any sections.
ये तो दिया है। अच्छा हाँ अभी आएगा नहीं, but यहाँ पे तो continue to next section. So you want to create a next section की set of questions for female employees, set of questions for male employees और set of questions for category A employees, category B employees. यहाँ पे आप click डाल सकते हैं go to which section. हमने सेक्शन क्रिएट नहीं किया है, अदरवाइज इट विल बी देयर, यू कैन सेलेक्ट दैट सेक्शन और जैसे वो मेल क्लिक करेगा वो उसको आपको सेक्शन 2 पे ले जाके सेक्शन 3 पे ले जाएगा जहाँ पे मेल के लिए क्वेश्चंस है, ठीक है, वो उसको वो क्वेश्चंस देगा ही नहीं क्योंकि उससे मुझे वो क्वेश्चंस के आंसर चाहिए ही नहीं।
कोई एम्प्लॉय का अभी 10 इयर्स से ज्यादा का एक्सपीरियंस है और आप उनसे कोई डिफरेंट टाइप के सर्टिफिकेशन चाहते हैं या उनसे आप रिफ्रेशर का या कोई ट्रेनिंग का प्रूफ चाहते हैं, बिलो 10 इयर्स आपको नहीं जरूरत है, तो वो जो पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन है वो उस सेक्शन में अपीयर करेगा, आप डायरेक्टली उस पे जंप कर सकते हैं।
सिमिलरली जैसे टुवर्ड्स द ईयर एंड हम लोग आपका रिटर्न का इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं सेविंग्स का, तो उसमें पीपल हु हैव ऑप्टेड फॉर न्यू स्कीम, लेट्स से ओल्ड स्कीम एंड न्यू स्कीम है, जिसने ओल्ड स्कीम के लिए ऑप्ट किया उसको सारा डिटेल्स देना पड़ेगा सेविंग्स का, सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस विल बी एटीसी में क्या है, एटीडी में क्या है, ये सारा, और जिसने न्यू स्कीम ऑप्ट किया है उसके लिए मुझे बस एक ही इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए होगा कि उसका एम्प्लॉयर का कंट्रीब्यूशन कितना है, दैट्स इट, और कुछ नहीं। तो इस तरह से आप सेक्शंस पे जा सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट इसी में चलते हैं, इसी में हाँ, लेट्स से मल्टीपल चॉइस की जगह वी वांट चेक बॉक्सेस कि वो क्लिक करे, ठीक है, तो मेल फीमेल चेक बॉक्सेस आ गए। अब ना कोई कई लोग हो सकते हैं, जैसे एक बारी अपीयरेंस पे जाना,
तो इसमें हमें ऑप्शन तो एक ही चाहिए,
एक ही चाहिए, ये जो आई दिख रहा है ये आपको प्रीव्यू दिखाता है,
क्लिक हो सकते हैं इकट्ठे,
प्रीव्यू दिखाता
This
है,
is the preview, whatever we have
जो बनाया है वो इस तरह से अपीयर होगा टू पीपल whom we send the form। अब इसमें अगर आप चेक बॉक्स में देखेंगे तो चेक बॉक्स में मेल फीमेल दोनों पे क्लिक कर सकते हैं, क्लिक करो, मेल फीमेल अदर्स,
even others.
अब किसी ने अगर कर दिया गलती से दोनों तीनों या जानबूझ के भी कई बार आप बच्चों को फॉर्म भेज रहे हो, कई बार बदमाशी करते हैं, ठीक है, तो ये एक दिक्कत आ जाएगी कि अब ये है क्या, ठीक है, सो इसके लिए वापस जाएं, वापस से प्रीव्यू दिखाएंगे हम लोग। फॉर दिस अगेन यू गो टू द 3 डॉट्स, रिक्वायर्ड वाले टॉगल के साइड में, राइट,
रिस्पांस वैलिडेशन,
गो टू रिस्पांस वैलिडेशन,
Here we have the option.
सेलेक्ट एटलीस्ट कितना, एटलीस्ट कितना सेलेक्ट कर सकते हैं, लेट्स से कोई ऐसे हैं कि आप एटलीस्ट 2 ऑप्शंस तो आपको सेलेक्ट करने हैं तो एटलीस्ट दे सकते हैं, इसमें
सिलेक्ट एटमोस्ट
कर सकते हैं, तो यहाँ मुझे एक ही ऑप्शन चाहिए, या तो मेल सेलेक्ट करें या फीमेल सेलेक्ट करें या अदर सेलेक्ट करें, तो एटमोस्ट पे क्लिक किया, एटमोस्ट कितना 1, ठीक है, बस बाहर कहीं भी क्लिक कर दीजिए, अगेन यू गो टू प्रीव्यू, अब देखिएगा वहां पे जब हम सबको सेलेक्ट करेंगे तो क्या होगा, दोबारा प्रीव्यू पे जाना, दोबारा से खोलना पड़ेगा,
इसको रिफ्रेश,
हाँ उसको रिफ्रेश, अब देखिए इट विल नॉट अलाउ यू, एरर दे देगा, जैसे 2 को सिलेक्ट कर रहे हैं एट मोस्ट 1 ऑप्शन, तो वो चाह के भी आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएगा, सबमिट नहीं कर पाएगा। नेक्स्ट है ड्रॉप डाउन दिखा देते हैं, सेम क्वेश्चन में आप ड्रॉप डाउन भी दे सकते हैं।
सर सेम टाइम जो ये पर्पल फील्ड आ रहा है वो ना आए, वो भी कॉन्शियसनेस क्रिएट करता है, तो उसमें दोनों में ऑप्ट आ रहा है, तो वो रेड एरर को ना नहीं इफेक्ट दे रहा है,
This one.
आपने दोनों चेक करे तो वो दोनों चेक नहीं होने चाहिए, ऐसा कुछ हो?
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, ये हमने
एक्चुअली चेक बॉक्सेस की प्रॉब्लम
हाँ।
है ना, these are different type of buttons. So checkbox by default has the nature that it will always allow you to select more than one. So I mean one of the things that we need to do is
Even at the end, when you will go for the submit,
हाँ,
तो
then-
वो भी-
एरर दे देगा, वो सबमिट नहीं होगा।
चेकबॉक्स का हम लेते ही नहीं है, मेल फीमेल वाला जेंडर वाले ऑप्शन में हम कभी चेकबॉक्स नहीं देंगे, we will always give a radio button.
हाँ
Because radio button by default allows you to select only one. But there are times where out of some reason we are forced to give like that. So then this choice is
रेडियो बटन
रेडियो बटन is not a button, multiple choice है।
Multiple choice is the.
Multiple choice is रेडियो बटन,
ओके,
हाँ
Now we go for the preview. You see now, either you select this one or this one.
या
Cannot select all of them. Yes, ma'am.
सेम ड्रॉप डाउन दिखा रहा हूँ, सेम क्वेश्चन में अगर आप ड्रॉप डाउन की बात कर रहे थे तो आप ड्रॉप डाउन में भी जा सकते हैं,
Now it will give you the drop down, so you can only
इसमें भी चार
select
के लिए
one.
एक ही select कर सकते हैं. So the two better options would be either go for multiple choice
or go for drop down.
Up next.
Preview के लिए sir, preview के लिए
You have this option.
कैसा दिखेगा आप खुद फिल करके देख सकते हैं. एक सेकंड, एक क्वेश्चन और. लेट्स से आप पूछ रहे हैं एक्सपीरियंस, यू आर पुटिंग अ टेंडर फॉर्म आप निकाल रहे हैं. बहुत सारे वेंडर्स उसको फॉर्म को फिल करते हैं, उसमें आप एक्सपीरियंस मांगते हैं, तो वो लिख देगा कि आपको क्योंकि चाहिए, आपको मिनिमम 3 इयर्स वाला चाहिए, तो उसने 3 इयर्स 4 इयर्स लिखा. उसके साथ आप सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी मांगते हैं, या फिर आई कार्ड का फॉर्म फिल करा रहे हो तो आप उसके साथ आप फोटोग्राफ भी मांगते हैं, वो चीज दिखा देते हैं. एक नया क्वेश्चन क्रिएट करो.
Now this is the new one.
ठीक है, लिखो लेट्स से एक्सपीरियंस इन इयर्स. शॉर्ट आंसर टाइप रहेगा. शॉर्ट आंसर टाइप रहेगा क्योंकि उसको 3 इयर्स 4 इयर्स 10 इयर्स जो भी उसको लिखना है वो लिखेगा वहां पे. उसके बाद नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन में ही आप उससे मांगते हैं डॉक्यूमेंट, सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स दो मुझे. तो एक नया क्वेश्चन क्रिएट कीजिए. नए क्वेश्चन में दो, प्लीज अटैच सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स. अब यहाँ पे टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन में फाइल अपलोड पे चली जाइए. मल्टीपल चॉइस की जगह फाइल अपलोड क्लिक करो, and then it will ask, will give you further options.
So these are the options.
कितने फाइल तक अपलोड कर सकता है, क्या साइज हो सकता है, फाइल टाइप भी आप पूछ सकते हैं.
allow.
ये रहा,
इस पे क्लिक करो.
इस पे क्लिक करो, टॉगल को ऑन करो. तो ये पूछेगा आप किस टाइप का, अगर फोटो है तो JPEG फाइल, अगर वैसे है तो PDF फाइल. आप सेलेक्ट कर लीजिए और उसके बाद
इसमें मेजर प्रॉब्लम आती है
PDF only.
वो यार
You want PDF.
हमने जो साइज दिया है अलाउड मैक्सिमम,
हाँ वो इशू आता है ना, क्रॉपिंग करना सबको नहीं आता.
दैट बिकम्स एन इशू.
So maximum अगर मैं 100 MB कर देंगे तो it will be better.
तो फिर वो ज्यादा स्पेस लेता है.
फिर ड्राइव पे
Our
जाइए.
drive should have enough space.
Personal mail पे it's only 15 GB. But for
बट
organizational
सूट वाले में, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वाले में तो
We all
अनलिमिटेड.
have Google Suite, right? For you. So then
du.ac.in होता है सबका, तो उस पे अनलिमिटेड होता है, कोई इशू नहीं.
for the size. Personal email में it's only 15 GB. So automatically.
वापस PPT को लेंगे.
Review. Experience in years and
यहाँ
another
पे
question.
ऐसा शो होगा, ऐड फाइल पे जाके वो
यहाँ पे
जो भी आप फिल करेगा. अभी हम आपको सेंड करते हैं इसको. रिक्वायर्ड
One more interesting thing about this is, if you don't want all the questions to appear on one page, you can create sections. So if somebody fills the first section, after that only they will be revealed the next set of questions. If you don't fill the first section completely as per requirement, the questions in the next section will not be revealed. Many times this is a requirement, especially when you are trying to select a particular section depending upon the answer that is there. You don't want them to see all the questions that are there, right? So we can show you one example for that.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, like last time you told that experience in years,
Right.
उसमें एक subsection लेके उसको attach file उधर नहीं.
वो कर सकते हैं, कर सकते हैं. हमें पहले एक section बनाना पड़ेगा इसमें, and we will insert the question in the next section. And when it appears in the form, only first section will be visible initially. So you submit accordingly. We can jump to an appropriate section rather than everything being visible on the first page. So you want to send it to us?
अभी एक बारी सेटिंग्स दिखा देते हैं.
Training form.
यहाँ पे यहाँ पे आप सेटिंग्स देख लेते हैं. कुछ चीजें डिफॉल्ट होती हैं, कुछ चीजें आप चेंज कर सकते हैं. इफ यू क्लिक ऑन सेटिंग्स, लाइन से चीजें आएंगी. मेक दिस अ क्विज. ऑब्वियसली वी आर नॉट मेकिंग इट अ क्विज. क्विज करते ही डिफरेंस क्या होता है, जो क्वेश्चंस आपने मल्टीपल चॉइस दिए थे उनमें आप पॉइंट्स अलॉट कर सकते हैं और साथ में ये भी बता सकते हैं कि करेक्ट आंसर क्या है, ताकि गूगल उसको डायरेक्टली खुद ही चेक करके आपको आंसर दे दे. तो हम मेक दिस अ क्विज ऑब्वियसली नहीं कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट है आपका
Admit on कर.
responses. Manage how responses are collected and protected. तो इसमें सारे ऑप्शन है. कलेक्ट ईमेल एड्रेसेस. बाय डिफॉल्ट जो भी रिस्पॉन्ड करेगा उसका ईमेल एड्रेस बाय डिफॉल्ट जिस आईडी से भी लॉगिन किया होगा उसने वो आईडी ऑटोमेटिकली कलेक्ट हो जाएगा और वो कलेक्ट होकर कहाँ जाएगा वो हम आपको दिखाएंगे भी.
So if you want form to be anonymous, right? Many times we may want anonymous response, right? Then we will not collect these email addresses. Right? So anybody who has submitted a response, we will not know who has submitted what response.
Let's say feedback.
That is also possible.
हमारा फीडबैक आज ठीक है anonymous करना है. Next we have send responders a copy of the response. अब ये बहुत जरूरी होता है because कल को वो बोलेगा कि नहीं हमने तो ये फिल नहीं किया था, we did not fill this information, आपने चेंज कर दिया है. ठीक है. So इसके लिए क्या होता है अकाउंटेबिलिटी होती है. If we turn it on, अगर इसको ऑन कर देंगे तो ऑन कर दो तो आप एंड में देखेंगे. ठीक है. सो व्हाट विल हैपन इज जो भी आप फॉर्म फिल करोगे हर किसी को उसके मेल आईडी पे तुरंत सबमिट करते ही द फिल्ड फॉर्म जो भी आपने फिल किया है वो आपके ईमेल आईडी पे आ जाता है. तो कल को आप एज अ प्रूफ ले जाके दिखा सकते हो देखो मैंने ये फिल किया था. या फिर आप क्रॉस क्वेश्चन कर सकते हो वेंडर से कि शो मी दैट रिस्पॉन्स फॉर्म, आपने क्या फिल किया था दिखाओ मुझे. तो वो ये क्लेम नहीं कर सकता कि नहीं हमने तो 4 साल भरा था आपने इसको 3 कर दिया है. ये क्लेम नहीं कर पाएगा. तो बोथ वेज इट इज अ गुड थिंग.
editing.
Changes after submitting.
तो कई बार होता है कि we want to keep the tender document open or let's say the information regarding the iCards open for a certain date कि बीच में कुछ गलत भर दिया तो आप वापस उसको चेंज कर सकते हो. तो वो ऑन रखना पड़ेगा.
Actually Google Forms में क्या होता है जैसे अगर मैंने आधा भरा it will remain saved. वो ऑप्शन है by default वो normally ऑन होता है. तो अगर मैं कोई Google फॉर्म फ्लोट कर रही हूँ और आप बहुत लंबा फॉर्म है आपने आधा भरा पूरा नहीं भर पाए आप दोबारा उसको खोलेंगे वो आधा डेटा दिखेगा प्रोवाइडेड आई हैव स्विच्ड ऑन दैट ऑप्शन तो वो सेव्ड रहेगा. सिमिलरली जब हम एडिट अलाउ करते हैं अगेन ऑल योर रिस्पॉन्सेज रिमेन सेव्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ द फॉर्म. तो अगर आप चाहें तो वापस जाके कोई चेंज कर सकते हैं और वो फाइनल नहीं होगा जब तक कि मैं उस डेटा को फुल नहीं करूँ. So that is the idea. So the only reason it is able to allow is because it keeps it saved as a form.
Number of responses, restrictions. अब ये रिस्ट्रिक्शन में है कि ये फॉर्म अगर अब मैं लेट्स से आप लोगों को सेंड कर देता हूँ मैं बच्चों को सेंड कर देता हूँ या वेंडर को सेंड कर देता हूँ यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी रिटन क्योंकि ये आईडी हमारा शहीद सुखदेव कॉलेज का है. सो एनीबॉडी विद एन आईडी व्हिच इज नॉट ऑफ शहीद सुखदेव कॉलेज sscbsdu.ac.in नहीं है उसका डोमेन तो वो इस फॉर्म को फिल नहीं कर पाएगा.
Actually वो ओपन नहीं कर पाएंगे.
ओपन ही नहीं कर पाएगा.
Only if you are logged in with your email ID from Shahid Sukhdev College, you will be able to open this form. Otherwise, you will not do it. This security feature है. So anybody from outside the organization will not be able to fill this form.
तो हम लोग जैसे बच्चों से आई कार्ड का इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं तो हम चाहते हैं कि वो अपने कॉलेज आईडी से ही फिल करे कोई दूसरा फिल ना करे तो हम इसको ऑन रखते हैं. लेकिन वेंडर से अगर हम कुछ मांग रहे हैं उसके पास तो शहीद सुखदेव का ये ड्यू का आईडी नहीं होगा तो उसको हम शॉप कर दें. उसके बाद किसी भी आईडी से आप फॉर्म को ओपन करके फिल कर सकते हैं.
कई बार हम फॉर्म फिल करते हैं तो कुछ ना कुछ एरर रह जाता है या गलती से वो सबमिट हो जाता है और वो कंपलसरी क्वेश्चंस नहीं होते तो सारा एम्प्टी चला जाता है. उस केस में हम ये लिमिट टू 1 रिस्पॉन्स को ऑफ कर दें. तो अगर एक ही जना चाहे तो 2 बार भी 3 बार भी वो फॉर्म को सबमिट
फिल हो सकता है. इसको अगर ऑन करेंगे तो इट विल नॉट अलाउ यू टू सबमिट इट अगेन.
तो फिर एक बार सबमिट कर दिया दोबारा नहीं अलाउ करेगा. वन ईमेल आईडी
सेम ईमेल.
वन ईमेल आईडी वन रिस्पॉन्स.
इवन हमने ऊपर ईमेल आईडी वाला ब्लॉक करके फिर दिया ऑप्शन है ना ईमेल आईडी वाली
कलेक्ट ईमेल आईडी वाला
इवन देन
ये तो बस कलेक्ट करता है. ये सिंपली कलेक्ट करता है कि जिसने फिल किया उसका ईमेल आईडी क्या था.
हमने इसको ऑफ रखा
हाँ.
उसके बाद भी वो नीचे वाली ऑप्शन काम करेगी.
हाँ ये तो ऑफ का तो हमारे लिए है सर.
वो कलेक्ट नहीं कर रहा.
If we are not
It is not
collecting
saving
it, we are not getting the information from the email IDs. Next one is the size limit. So
The
जितना भी
total
आप-
space that you are allowing for this form.
एक फॉर्म के लिए
These are the options for presentation.
हाँ तो ये एक वो फॉर्म दिखाते हैं जिसमें सेक्शन बाय सेक्शन मैं देखो
हाँ हाँ.
ऑलरेडी क्रिएटेड है.
वो है मैंने बना
This one.
this is a quiz that I had given at some point of time to the students. So इसमें अगर आप देखेंगे तो मैंने sections बना रखे या देख रहे हैं? Right? So this is section 1, this is section 2, right? And I can even change from here that after section 2, I don't want to go to section 3, I want to go to section 6 directly, right? So if I see this, तो देखिए फर्स्ट पेज पर मैं सिर्फ यहाँ से टाइटल, ईमेल, रोल नंबर, नेम यही ले सकती हूँ. अगर ये फिल नहीं करेंगे बच्चे तो फिर वो आगे नहीं जा सकते and they can't even see the questions. Many times of course एक क्विज है तो मैं नहीं चाहती कि बच्चा उसका स्क्रीनशॉट लेके एक दूसरे को शेयर करे. So I would like one question on one page, right? So that is why I had done that. So if I fill all of this here, roll number, अच्छा ये आप देख रहे हैं ये saved है. ये कल हम लोग ट्राई कर रहे थे तो इसमें हमने ये एंटर किया था and it is saved, right? Because that option is turned on. So now I will say next. The star here, red star here means it is a compulsory question, right? You can see the progress bar, right? So this progress bar is shown because I had selected that in the setup. So anybody who's doing this form will realize, okay, this much more is left, and this is showing the pages 2 out of 60. So these pages correspond to the sections that I have created, right? So we can keep going like that.
हमने कोई कब कब वर्क करेगा जब एक ही टाइम पे सारे स्टूडेंट सामने हैं और तब करना है?
नहीं वो बताएंगे हम अभी.
हाँ.
जब हम रेस्पॉन्सेज में जाएंगे ना तो उसमें
Permission, we may have the tea break for 10 minutes.
Acha, please go ahead. Go ahead. To answer your question, students need
Attention all the online participant. Now there will be a break for 10 minutes. Then we will resume after that.
the participants could be sitting anywhere. I will share with them online and they can do this and
There
submit.
is no time.
Attention of the participant. Now we are going to review. Now we are audible. Online participant.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now we are going to review.
Share the link. तो अपलोड सर्टिफिकेट वाले को रिक्वायर्ड हटाते
लिंक शेयर करना लिंक को कैसे करें मेल
उसपे डाउनलोड लिंक शेयर करना सिखाते हैं और लिंक डाल देंगे उसके चैट बॉक्स राजू जी, आप लोगों का कोई व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है यहाँ पे? सर, एक ट्रेनिंग का पूरा व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है, जितने भी कैंडिडेट, मैं आपको एक लिंक दूंगा फॉर्म का, वो लिंक आप उस पे ग्रुप पे शेयर करो। ठीक है सर। तो हम लोग रीस्टार्ट करते हैं संजय भाई। सो विल स्टार्ट विद द हाउ टू शेयर दिस फॉर्म विद पीपल हु आर गोइंग टू फिल इट, right? So there are a couple of ways through which we can share it.
Let us just show you how to delete a question if you create it. So last one. So this question I want to delete. I don't have any more to add. So just delete.
Yeah, delete.
Have the option.
So now we are publishing this form. Technically it is called as publishing. We will do. अभी हमने इसको अच्छा while link अच्छा shorten URL. So when we want to share the form, there are again two ways. Either we can share it by adding the participant's email, or we can just generate a link. Now normally, unshorten. Normally this is how big a link is, right? And this is harder to manage. So we can shorten the URL. Now this is a much manageable link, right? So we will copy it from there. There's a copy button on the right hand side. Yes. And we will share it. So we want to share it by mail.
एक तो मेल पे शेयर कर देना, दूसरा Zoom पे participants can click.
अच्छा वो तो यहीं पे करते हैं हाँ
Zoom के chat box.
So you can see we have just
So online participants, we are sharing the link of the form that we just created. Please fill it up by going clicking on the link, and then we'll show you how the responses would appear. What are the various ways we can download the responses? आप लोगों को हम गूगल उस पे रानू जी मैं आपको शेयर कर दूंगा, मुझे मेल पे कर दो, इनको चैट बॉक्स में।
आपके पास वो मीट लिंक नहीं है, जूम लिंक नहीं है?
हाँ तो उससे ले लीजिए,
कोई एक पर्सन कॉपी कर देगा तो
हाँ not restricted to the shades of paper.
Here, we'll check. Limit to one response.
आ गया है?
Email select कर.
आप लोग सब फिल कर लीजिए, आप शो कर पाएंगे तो
जैसे जैसे फिल होगा लिंक
भेज
शेयरिंग है। say 2 have already filled it. So we are
Online
saying
participants also,
no
please fill the
responses
form.
are there.
There are only 2 or 3 questions. कुछ भी रैंडम फिल कर दीजिए.
सर लिंक कहाँ किसमें भेजा आपने सर?
लिंक हम ने चैट में डाल रही हैं. चैट में, जूम मीटिंग के चैट में.
अच्छा आई एम वेटिंग इन द ईमेल, तो चैट में करना है?
चैट में लिंक होगा, लिंक पे क्लिक कीजिए, वो ऑटोमेटिकली ओपन हो जाएगा.
मैंने फिर से शेयर कर
चैट पे शेयर किया है, चैट पे देखिए.
एक बार और कर दीजिए शेयर।
हाँ शेयर है.
सर जस्ट अभी मेरा लॉगिन हुआ तो मुझे अब दिखेगा।
हम वापस से रीशेयर कर रहे हैं लिंक. जूम मीटिंग के चैट पे चले जाइए, मैसेजेस में शो करेगा.
यस आ गया सर, ग्रुप पे आ गया.
हाँ,
ओके ओके.
और व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे भी आ गया है, आप वहां से हर कोई फिल कर लीजिए.
That is easier actually, WhatsApp groups.
For a supporting document,
दैट्स नॉट अ रिक्वायर्ड क्वेश्चन. आप उसको बिना कुछ अटैच किए भी आगे बढ़ेंगे तो सबमिट हो जाएगा.
थैंक यू.
वो क्वेश्चन हमने डिलीट किया था.
नहीं उसको अनरिक्वायर्ड कर दिया.
उसमें देखेंगे वो अनरिक्वायर्ड है. इट्स नॉट अ रिक्वायर्ड क्वेश्चन.
Let's start.
कर दिया सब.
Attachment मत कीजिए. जिसमें रेड स्टार नहीं है मतलब वो कंपलसरी है. So वो क्वेश्चन कंपलसरी. अभी ना रिस्पॉन्सेज आप देखते हैं रियल टाइम में वो बढ़ता जा रहा है, वो रिस्पॉन्सेज दिखा रहा है.
और ये बस उसको शो होगा जिसने फॉर्म क्रिएट किया है. ये आप लोगों को शो नहीं होगा.
हाँ मेल आ गया ना. जो आपने रिस्पॉन्स किया है वो आपके पास वापस आएगा.
हाँ.
आपके मेल में.
हमने किया था ना, सेंड अ कॉपी ऑफ रिस्पॉन्स टू द रिस्पॉन्डर.
तो अपने मेल पे नजर आ जाएगा.
आपकी मेल पे आपका
ऐड फाइल में
रिस्पॉन्स
क्या करना है?
क्या करना है
सर ऐड फाइल में क्या करना है?
कुछ नहीं, आप उसको ब्लैंक छोड़ दो. ब्लैंक छोड़ दो और सबमिट कर दो.
You also have option to accepting responses. अगर हमें बंद करना है रिस्पॉन्स लेना,
बता दें.
हाँ तो हम इसको ऑफ कर देंगे. No other responses will be allowed.
Has everybody filled the form
यस सर.
so that we can move on to explain how the responses would look like?
10 seconds और. इसमें हम रिस्पॉन्स के लिए डेट भी डाल सकते हैं 2 दिन तक. ये ना गूगल फॉर्म में नहीं है. गूगल फॉर्म में हमें मैन्युअली क्लोज करना पड़ेगा. जैसे आप इस टाइम के बाद आप हमें नहीं ले तो हम इसको ऑफ कर दें.
Accepting responses ऑफ कर दोगे
तो
तो
टाइम नहीं.
ले ही नहीं पाएगा वो रिस्पॉन्सेस.
आपको कैसे आएगा?
वही तो कह रहा हूँ.
नहीं वो शेयर आता है. समरी
नहीं इनको. अच्छा ये तो आपने जूम खोल रखा है. तो वो स्क्रीन
विजिबल होती है.
अदरवाइज आप नहीं देख पाओगे रिस्पॉन्स.
क्या चीज? ऑल रिस्पॉन्सेज.
उनको सारा रिस्पॉन्स दिख रहा है.
पार्टिसिपेंट्स नहीं देख पाएंगे.
अपना रिस्पॉन्स देख सकते हैं.
ऑफिस चल रहा है. ठीक.
आपको कहाँ पे आ रहा सेटिंग्स में हमने कुछ तो ये नहीं किया.
Is there okay if we close the Google form?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we are closing the Google form. Anybody who wants to submit after this will not be able to submit. Okay.
उनके सेटिंग्स में शायद रिस्पॉन्सेस शीट से तो फिर ये होता है कि कैन यू शेयर.
मैंने acceptance responses ऑफ करने के बाद अगर सब will not be able to.
मैं माइसेल्फ इज पेंडिंग. मैं भी कर रहा हूँ. 1 मिनट दे दीजिए मुझे.
Okay, we are opening the form. Please submit.
थैंक यू मैम.
You can see at any other point. Suppose I close it today. Tomorrow I want to reopen. I can keep adding the responses to the earlier data. So the earlier data doesn't go in. One response. अगर हम इसे ऑफ कर देंगे तो आप सेम पर्सन भी बना सकते.
थैंक यू मैम. थैंक्स.
We are closing the form. So now if we want to, now there are two ways to work with this. We have the data now. If we want to see the data in a sheet, right, in a Google sheet, and we want to maybe use it later or save it in that form,
We have the option of links to sheets. By clicking on it, create a new spreadsheet.
I can add it to an existing sheet also. Or I can just create a new sheet in which all this data will be added. New sheet.
मैम existing sheet में new worksheet बनेगी
हाँ, new worksheet.
मतलब अगर पहले 4 है तो फिर वो नई 5 बनेगी
सारा डेटा जो फिल किया था वो आ गया विद द टाइम स्टैम्प एंड एवरीथिंग। किसने किस टाइम पे फिल किया, कल को कोई क्लेम करना चाहता है कि नहीं मैंने तो टाइम पे फिल कर दिया तो वहां पे टाइम शो हो जाएगा कि उसने टाइम पे फिल नहीं किया।
So what it does is, for every question that we have, it will create one column. The heading of the column is the question, and the response to that question is the value, the cell value. So for each response, there is one.
Ma'am, one is pending.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. One person is pending. Just give me him half a minute, ma'am, please.
Right.
Please open.
Yes, sure.
So
So it is open for accepting any more responses.
ओपन ही
So
रखो आप फिर।
open it. So you can see these are the responses that came now. Now, if we want to analyze,
Is there any option for numerical or alphanumerical fields? Like in experience, we can see that some are the numerical numbers and some are the.
we can do validation. We can do validation. What we have done is this was a short answer type question. So there we can't do it. But when you are entering the data in another type of question where you have multiple choice, we can do validation. What will be summary. Now one is the summary portion. In the summary portion, for the first thing is we can see all the people who have responded. So you can see the email IDs.
Question
what is the questions?
Question wise
So you can see the total number of responses for question 1 and what are the various unique responses. So all of them will come here. You can see this, right? So out of the entire set, what is the percentage it is available? And it is deciding itself, right? What is the appropriate tool to use to represent the data? Google is deciding itself.
Previous one, it's using the pie chart, which makes they are using the different diagram, histogram.
And of course, attaching documents is all.
It doesn't have any.
No responses.
downloading
You can also see each response separately.
You can go to individual, and here if you want to search any one of them, it's a this one only. So we can see what the person have filled in the.
Question wise also. So I want to see what are the responses for one particular question only. So I can go to the question. It gives me, these are the two responses which are sent by so many respondents.
10 years by 5 responses. In 23 years, 2 responses, 13, 2 and so on.
download and CSV
Sheets.
So we just want to download this file. Download, and we have these different options. You want to download it as a Excel. So first option is there, PDF, and other options are also there.
Is it okay?
So for example, how is .csv in terms of its utility different from the tab separated value sheet? I mean, how can we use it differently? Yes, like when do we choose these? In what kind of circumstances?
So normally,
For Excel, we can use this format, right? If you want to do more analysis in this particular file, then we can go for this format. CSV is also like Excel only.
See, I am into computer science.
Right.
So,
Dr. Gupta.
Yes. So if I have to download this and I don't want to use it with Excel only, maybe I want to import it in another software, right? So then maybe R, right? Then a CSV or a TSV file will be useful for me. CSV and TSV are almost similar, except CSV is comma separated. So between any two values, there is a comma that is inserted. So if I like a delimiter as a comma, then I would like it to be CSV. Whereas if I like a delimiter to be tab, so if I'm reading it in MATLAB, say, or in R, and I already have a code which allows me to read any file which is comma separated, I would like a CSV, otherwise a TSV.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
So this is what we downloaded.
This is what we download. In Excel format.
So this is, I think, the first part of our presentation. If it is okay, if there are any doubts, we can take them now. After that, we will be going to the next part.
Apart from Google Sheets, can you just tell us what is difference between sorting and filtering?
Sure.
Please.
That is what we are going to
We'll
do.
show that.
To the next one.
We'll show that.
Filters in the Google Sheet.
Now, one thing is for sure, if we are very used to using a doc, a Word doc, then this is slightly different from Word doc. There are some features which are not available, which are available on a normal doc, right? Similarly, for Google Sheets, it is parallel to our Excel. However, there are certain features that are different, right? The whole idea, of course, is collaboration, right? And Excel doesn't allow us that very easily in real time, it does, right? So we will be talking from the perspective of a collaborative environment for sheets. Right? So we start.
So this one is for filter, if you want to apply filter in the Google Sheets. So you have to select the range in which you want to apply the filter.
You can take an example.
Which you can read this one only. So, on this first step, we want to apply filter. So we have option.
These three dots, you can see the filter option.
Create a filter.
You'll click on that, it will be turned on. So now you can see these three lines on each of the cells. Okay,
This is the filter. So we have these options.
So first we are selecting all the columns on which we would like to apply the filter. Right? After that, for each of the columns, we would specify the exact filtering that we want. So suppose we want to say on gender, we want to say all the females who had applied for this particular form. So we would select maybe only the females.
Sort or filter mean you wanted to know the difference, right? Sort mean, let's say we sorted by A to Z.
Okay.
So any word which is starting with A will be there in the first, will be first shown to you, and then later on, let's say male and female and others were there. So male is from M, female is F, so F comes before M, right? And so this sort comes B to Z.
That is alphabetical sort.
Alright.
And in case if it's a column which is having numbers, then it will show you A to Z means smallest to largest.
We can go from.
So related information अपने आप change कर देंगे.
हाँ, automatically side वाला change
The
कर देगा.
entire sheet will automatically adjust itself to that one column's change.
In Excel, we have this option whether you want to apply it in the whole sheet or in a one particular
sheet. वहाँ पे it will ask you expand the selection ऐसे करके वो पूछता है.
यहाँ
Excel
पर
में
ask it.
यहाँ पे वो पूरे को ले लेता है automatically.
जिसमें एक को लेना हो कौन सी option?
It's in Excel.
Excel में. तो पूछेगा expand the selection यानी इसी column को बस sort करें या सबको कर दें.
उसमें भी
इसमें सबका नहीं लगा.
उसमें अगर आप एक कॉलम को सिलेक्ट करेंगे पहले, फिर आप बोलते हैं डेटा सॉर्ट, तो वो पूछेगा कि एक ही कॉलम को करना है या एक्सपैंड करना है. अगर आप एक कॉलम को सिलेक्ट नहीं करेंगे, आप बोलते हैं डेटा सॉर्ट ऑन जेंडर, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली पूरी शीट को ही सॉर्ट
साइड में उसके कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग जो वैल्यूज हैं वो ऑटोमेटिकली शिफ्ट कर.
So this is okay. Go add the filter.
अब यहाँ पे so we have these are the ways you can filter it. Let's say in cells में ना कहीं कहीं होता है ना cells को ब्लू कर देते हैं, ग्रीन कलर कर देते हैं, रेड कलर कर देते हैं, ठीक है. तो सॉर्ट बाय कलर में वो आपको ऑप्शन देगा. तो यहाँ पे हमने कुछ क्योंकि कलर पे कुछ कर नहीं रखा है,
So now you can see I'm filtering only on females, right? So the data corresponding to females only will be visible. Can you see that? Right? Now within this, I want to apply a filter. Okay. Want to do filter by condition? Filter by. We have only this. So it means date is greater than or equal to. Okay. So now we want to say filter by condition, right? And we are saying suppose it is greater than maybe 30. So we are trying to look at all the people who are females who have an experience greater than 30 years, right? I say okay. You can see this. Okay. So I can either filter by the values that are there, or I can apply some condition and filter.
So filter में मैम it will keep the rows which fulfill that condition. बाकी सबको हटा देता है. Sort में वो सारा कुछ रखेगा, बस sequencing change कर देगा. That's it.
अब इसे डाउनलोड करेंगे तो ये दो ही डाटा जाएंगे इधर.
हाँ.
If you download now,
हाँ.
ये केवल दो ही डेटा को ले जाएगा एक्सेल में.
नहीं वो तो पूरा ही ले जाएगा. ये तो जब आप
ये तो व्यू के लिए है.
ये व्यू के लिए.
आप कॉपी करके कहीं और ले जाते
The data is there. But what is being viewed is after what we have applied the filter. So if you download, it will still be the entire.
आप इसको कॉपी करके साइड वाली शीट एक और क्रिएट कर लो यहाँ से प्लस साइन से और उसमें पेस्ट कर दो और फिर डाउनलोड कर.
But if I want to export just this data, then that I can do, just this view.
Just this view, if I have to export, you want to export it as an Excel?
As an Excel, yes, maybe.
So what I normally do,
Yeah, that's the thing. But
Yeah.
we will download only this one.
Only this. नहीं तो filter लगा हुआ है. Filter change हो गया.
इसमें filter available है, downloaded. See, the data is there.
filter line we have to remove only.
So see, the data is all there. So if I remove the filter, you can see the data is. Why did it not download the rest of the forms? Because the main data is not.
This is before this comes.
Need to download one.
This is the mistakes.
Select all करके आंसर select all कर और आंसर
You can see, right? So the data is all there. Even if you download it, it is not that, it will remove that data, right? So data will be. We go to the next step.
slides.
My sharing don't over here.
It is. We'll ask. For the online participants, can you still see the screen, please?
Is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This one, this one.
मैडम resumes sharing करना पड़ेगा.
अच्छा, it's paused. Right.
Now.
Same, whatever we have discussed till now. Freezing the rows.
नॉर्मली उस पे शीट पे चलेगा फ्रीज जरूरत क्यों होती है just scroll करो
Move सभी का ना।
हाँ, कर दो।
Move back also. Okay, करना पड़ेगा। मुझे से
बट सारा नीचे स्क्रॉल करो
ये ऑलरेडी फ्रोजन है।
ये ऑलरेडी फ्रोजन है
इसको कर ले।
अच्छा वो फर्स्ट वाला फ्रोजन है ना मान लीजिए सेकंड वाला पे कर so let's say in the first two rows
So see, up.
so let's say when you scroll down
So you can see this is the headings, right? Now I'm scrolling down.
so the heading is now disappearing
Yes.
so we don't know this information is related to what heading right so we want to scroll downwards but we want this row to be frozen so that we will know this value corresponds to what heading
You can see I'm pulling this, right?
so there are two ways of doing this
Right. So now if I scroll down, the first row doesn't disappear. So my headings remain. Right? This is the freeze option. The second way to do that is from here. From view. So I go to view. I say freeze. And suppose rather than just one row, I want two frozen rows, right? So I will say two rows. You can see it is now frozen up to there. So I can keep scrolling.
We'll do top one only.
If you want only one row to be frozen, then I will say view, freeze, one row. Now you can see only one row is frozen and I can keep scrolling. The first row doesn't.
One first and the seventh one, then it will not.
It will. It needs two or three continuous rows. Now the easy way of doing this is either through this or see if you take your cursor here, the hand appears, right? So just pull it. So now my first 5 rows are frozen. Similar thing I can do with the columns also. Okay, so suppose I want to say freeze this particular column, only the first one, right? So I can say one column, right? And now this is frozen. So if I move forward from here, no matter where I go, this first column stays frozen. The same hand thing works here also. I can take it here and I can keep it. Right, so you can see now the first 3 columns are going to remain frozen, right? So it is
gray border represents whatever is above it and whatever is the left hand side. These rows and columns are frozen.
Excel में होता है ना, इसमें नहीं होता। Going back to the PPT. So this is what we just talked about, freezing of rows. For the online participants, if you have any questions, please. Okay. Now, many times we may have a very big Excel, right? And we do not want to see all the rows or all the columns, right? So what we can do is, you can see this arrow here. Right? I can just hide this column. The column, of course, is a part of the Excel, but I just don't see it. Right? So these two arrows normally indicate that there is hidden columns. Similar thing can be done with the rows also. We are left with one thing about the mailing list.
Sharing बता दीजिए. आप बता दीजिए. अरे मैम वहाँ से click कर.
Sharing of
Sharing of Google Sheet, so that others can collaborate and work on the same sheet. Same Excel
So
page.
the same concept is here, right? So the sharing concept will work whether you are in a drive or you are on any particular document, right? It is exactly the same. So I will just say share, right? And I can work on the same.
And give the edit access or view access, whatever access you want to give.
I can.
ये हमारे we use it a lot during the admission process. So first line of verification is done by the non-teaching staff. Second line of verification is done by the teaching staff. Then remarks are there, right? ये बहुत use होता है during admission. अब पिछले मतलब last 3-4 years.
Admission process is online available, so everything is coming in Excel sheet.
Okay, so I'm sure you are all familiar with the idea of Google Meet, right? You know how to create a Google Meet from Gmail? Everybody does, right? So let's go to another thing, which is creating a mailing list. So are you all familiar with this? So on Gmail, if I want to always send to maybe 5 people, right? So we are all part of many committees, right? And we do send very regularly mails to those committees, right? If we want to create a mailing list for one particular set of people, which we will use very frequently, rather than typing their names, we will type the name of one mailing list, right? So I will show you. So I will go to my mail. I have to open my contacts. We'll have to open the other email.
इसमें contact send ही नहीं है.
Right. Now, I need to have Google contacts in order for this to work, right? So normally on my phone, when I'm saving new mobile numbers, I save them as Google contacts. So they all are imported here. So suppose I want to add Amit and Ravi to one mailing list, right? So I will select their names. Okay? Like this. Okay? Once I've done that, you can see this button here. This allows me to create a label which will comprise of these two email IDs. So I can say create a new label. So I will say right. I will save it. Now, if I see the labels on the left side, you will see that I have this new label called workshop contact. And when I click on this, I see these two emails. Right? Now, if I want to mail to these two people, I will go to my Gmail. I will compose an email. Right? And here, rather than typing their names, I will say workshop contacts. Oh,
Ma'am, so maximum कितने हम ले सकते हैं email ID?
It can vary.
And
right? So now once I have this mailing list, I'm not typing their names, right? I'm just picking their. Oh, if I change the screen, will it stop again? Let me see. Yeah. It will stop.
Same इसमें आप अपनी दूसरी email
I don't have any contacts. अच्छा इसी में
विंडो में
ठीक
ऐड
I'm showing it again. I think the online participants did not see this. Okay, so what we are doing is we will first go to the contacts. In the contacts, we will pick any two email IDs. So maybe I will select them. Right? I will label them. I will save this label. Right? This appears on the left hand side as a new label. Right? If I click on this, I see these two email IDs here. Now, when I'm mailing to these two people, I will say compose and I will type the name of the label that I had just created. So when I pick that, it will flood this with the actual email IDs rather than the label. Now, this is the idea of creating a mailing list, right, which I can do.
So it saves on time, prevents errors, and then prevents.
I use this very frequently. We are in so many committees.
But the ID should be in the contact list.
Right.
IDs have to
Label,
be yes,
label,
in the Gmail's
label.
contact list. Otherwise, you can't do it. Many times, if it is not there, I just create a contact very quickly there by just adding an email ID. Right? If it doesn't have the phone numbers and all, it is okay. Right? Because once I have that email ID, at least I will be able to start using this feature. So this is all from our side. I think we've covered as much as we wanted to. If there are any questions, anything else, we can take that.
Again, most of the Excel functions would work on Google Sheets. Not all, but most of them would work.
Many shortcuts don't work.
Many shortcuts don't work.
People who are very used to using Excel, many of the shortcuts don't work on Google Sheets. However,
the formulas are also working on Google
most
Sheets.
of the formulae work. So any questions from your side? Anything else that you would like us to quickly go through? We can.
Online participants, do you have any questions for our source people?
हमसे शेयर करते हैं गूगल डॉक को तो कितने ऑप्शन तुम्हारे पास होते हैं उनको रेस्ट्रिक्ट करने के लिए कि कौन सिर्फ रीड कर सकता है कौन सिर्फ रीड एंड राइट भी ऑल्टर भी कर सकता है
एडिटर
हाँ, क्या and other people who can comment.
Same options जो आपके Google Drive पे थे ना, viewer, commenter and editor. Same होता है. Editor can change the values and everything. Viewer can just view and download. That's it. In fact, a lot of data sometimes we collect, let's say regarding ranking, how many people have published research papers, let's say for India Today ranking, or let's say for any other ranking for that matter. So what we do is we create a Google Sheet rather than a Google form, right? And we create columns, name of the faculty, name of the research paper, whether it is UGC, CARE or Scopus Index. ये NAC में बहुत काम आता है, बहुत ज़्यादा. Name of the workshop, date, from, to, resource person. So Google Sheets can also be used for collecting data. So you provide access to everyone to edit it. So Google Form is not always very useful for collecting data. For NAC purpose, we always use Google Sheets. उतने questions उतने बहुत मुश्किल होता है. And we get a view also कि किसने किसने fill कर दिया directly. So it puts a lot of pressure. People when they log in, sometimes they say अरे अभी एक नहीं fill किया, we will not fill it, बाद में करेंगे. जैसे देखेंगे बहुत लोगों ने कर दिया, वो तुरंत fill कर दिया. So it gives a real time view of how many people have already filled it.
हम पर्टिकुलर ईमेल को व्यूअर बना सकते हैं या तीनों बना सकते हैं.
Editor का मतलब है वो automatically तीनों. Editor means वो as good as आप, same rights as the creator of the Google Sheet.
Commenter is additional to viewer. Viewer is minimalistic. You can only see. Commenter means you can add comments the way we had displayed. Editor, of course, has all the access rights.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shikhar Gupta, and also Amit ji, Ravi ji. Thank you so much. Meenakshi madam told me that we couldn't felicitate you earlier, so we'd like to now give you plans from here to say thank you to you.
That's
Thank
very
you
nice
so
of you.
much, Dr.
Thank
Gupta.
you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ravi ji. You're Amit, sorry. Thank you, Amit ji. Thanks. And Ravi ji, to you also
Thank you
very
so
much.
much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I am.
You can say I see, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much for bearing with us through this
My pleasure
presentation.
to you, really.
At any point of time, if you have any other questions regarding this, we'll be happy to take. Right? So I think you will have my email ID.
Yes, yes.
I've been typing it in again and again. Please feel free to mail anytime.
We'll also share the PPT. The steps are given there. In case you forget, you can go back to the PPT and see what are the steps. It's a pictorial presentation of the steps.
No wonder your college does so well because they have wonderful people like you, really.
That is very kind of you to say.
No, really. Like by your principal, of course.
Yes.
आप लोगों ने चाय थैंक यू सेटअप करना होगा so you can take the hot tea if you like now or we'll just have a quickly we'll have tea or affiliation चाय होगी पहले अभी आ रहे हैं पहले क्या वो नहीं करना आने वाले हैं पता कर लीजिए हाँ
international guest. But I have been assigned responsibility against each and every.
I'm sorry if I do your seat. We would like to have your feedback. So, good, bad, ugly, or okay.
We do have a feedback mechanism. They're supposed to every day fill in the feedback form. However, as you rightly said, it's always positive, so we doubt it highly.
Actually, a feedback, if it is all positive, it means it is bogus.
Yes, yes.
And it's very important for us as presenters to improve. Right? And we cannot improve till the time you give us an active feedback. So at least for this session, please give an active feedback.
And we later, I think, Akhilesh, we are going to give an anonymous form also, so that they can write all their, whatever they feel confidently in that without being really worried about the identity.
That I endorse the statement of Jason. It should be somewhere else from the office. Because that happens when you be in the office, ना अगर घर भी ऐसा कुछ है तो वो भी देखना पड़ता है, वो भी देखना पड़ता है. Because you will be.
अच्छा, मतलब attendees की बात कर रहे हैं आप?
नहीं, हमारे को है ना बाहर होना है. Venue जो है, there should be in other places.
जैसे गोवा में हुआ
नहीं, गोवा का मतलब नहीं, कहीं भी मतलब then in that case you will have the complete attention and you will be focused to the work आपको दिया जा रहा है उसमें. यहाँ पर वहाँ भी कॉल आ रही, वहाँ भी कॉल आ रही, वहाँ भी भाग रहे हैं, घर भी जा रहे हैं, वहाँ पता कि कोई नहीं है, तो ये खाना बनाना है, वो भी करना है, बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. मेरे साथ गुजारिश कर रहा है. Everyone has gone to the Maharashtra. Mother-in-law is there, is not feeling well. हाँ, वो बात है.
वो खाना बनाना पड़ रहा है. So are we ready for the presentations tomorrow? We'll start at around 10:15 or so. Log in by 10, online participants, offline please be present by 10. We'll start at 10:15. And today, the last session for this training is from Sahil, who is with the Samarth team. और आप जानते हैं Samarth team किस तरह से, especially जो बाहर की दूसरी universities हैं all over India, they know the importance of Samarth and how vigorously the Ministry of Education is following it up. So today it's financial management, I suppose. Yes. So Sahil will be taking up, and again I thank that Samarth team for taking up such a humongous task. All over India, they have digitized the administrative functioning of the universities. So Sahil, over to you. Yeah. तब क्या
हेलो हेलो हेलो,
आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
अच्छा आवाज नहीं आ रही है
जी. Please unmute.
So, as we all are aware that right now we are just finance people are just functioning with some solutions that are only in the parts basically. They are using some solution and I am just aware that we have done some research. No, not all financial tasks are being done by the institutions in the softwares basically right now. So we have done some research and we found that higher education institutions are not using the digital solutions to digitize their financial supply chain management solutions basically. So right now I am just showing you that how we will be able to strengthen our financial supply chain management. Basically in the financial supply chain management there are three basic pillars. First is the budget, second is the bill processing, and third is the accounting. That is the most important part. So as we all are aware that right now government of India has mandated that all the higher education system or all the higher education institution needs to do their accounting according to the accrual basis. So many institutions are using Tally, but they are using Tally only for the accounting purpose, and they are not just digitizing their budget process. They are just not digitizing their bill processing process. Right now, what they are practicing, what they are just using the Tally for accounting only, and they are just doing the practice. Suppose a vendor has submitted the bill, then they just do the processing on the bills on the paper itself. Then they just enter the data of that bill in the Tally, and at the end of the financial year, they are just expecting the trial balance. On the basis of that trial balance, every institutions made their financial statement, so we can say balance sheet. So we have made a solution basically that is integrated from budget to accounting itself. Suppose I'm just giving an example for a higher education institution. Suppose in the DU there are so many departments, and before starting of the next financial year, there is a need to raise the estimate. Every department needs to raise the estimate, and those estimates comes to the department at the paper, and they just compiling, and then after compilation they will send it to the Ministry of Education, and then it is the decision of the ministry accordingly whether the HEPA loan will be there or how the financial need will be catered to the institutions. So right now we have just developed the system, and we have just running this system successfully in 3-4 universities, and so many central institutions are in line to take this system or waiting for this system to be implemented in their universities, because this institution is catering the need right starting from the budget to the accounting. So I'm just showing you that how we will be able to do all the processes, as this is the integrated system. So that's why PPT is not there. I'm just showing you all the processes on the portal itself, how we can just do the processes accordingly. So right now I'm just going to the finance. In the financial, there is a financial supply chain management module. By going to the dashboard, here we can see that setting is here. So in our portal, there is a tradition, we can say. The tradition is first, before using the system, we need to configure the settings. So in the settings, you can see that I have made some entries that is of the financial year. So I'm just showing you that what are the attributes of this financial year. You can see first we need to name the financial year, then code. In the code, we need to select the financial year for which we are just configuring the system. And after then start date, and then end date, and then revision date. So revision date is the date. So in the higher education institutions, budgets are being revised once in a year. So there are so many institutions. We can say the institution of national importance. There the budget is being revised twice or thrice, we can say. I have just a new example. Yesterday itself, I was discussing it with IIT BHU. They are just doing it accordingly on the basis of the receival of the grants. So then I'm just here we can just need to put the audit date and status, and then archive status. So the most important field set here is the archive status. This archive status means, like, suppose I am just working in the system in the current financial year, and I just want to take the estimates for the next financial year from the departments. So then I will be able to just create the next financial year, and then I will be able to take the estimates by keeping the archive status here. So it means that particular financial year will be activated after completion of this current financial year. So I will be able to do that practice as well. So after creating the financial year, we need to create the account books here. In the account books, we can just create the account books. I'm just showing you how we will be able to create the account books. We need to just give the name of the account book. And now I'm just emphasizing on the term account book. Why account book is needed here? There are so many universities which has more than one campus, and we are just standing in the Delhi University, so we can just say that North Campus and South Campus is here. But there are other universities, as the example is Central Sanskrit University, has 11 campuses. So many universities has more than one campus, so they will be able to do the accounting centrally, or if they want to do the accounting distributively, then that is also in the system, and system will be able to handle that distributed accounting as well. So after naming the account book, then main organization unit. Here, I'm just selecting the IIC here. So the South Campus here. And next field set is the project slash university. If we all know that university accounting is the all accrual basis, but the project accounting is on the cash basis. So system is able to handle both type of accounting. So we will be able to do both type of accounting in the system itself. We don't need to manage the another account book for the project. Right now, I'm just selecting the university accounting. Here you can see these are the child organization of the particular South Campus. How I am just saying this, suppose Delhi University has two campus, and if I am just doing the accounting distributively, here I will be able to select South Campus and the child units of the South Campus, child organization unit, the faculty which are present there, or we can say the institutions which are present there. IIC is present in the South Campus, so that's why I have configured it for the IIC, as that is the basic caretaker of Samarth as well, IIC. So that's why I have selected it. So accounting type, I can just select the accounting type accrual, or if I just want to do the accounting on the cash basis, then I can select that as cash basis as well. Currencies, currency of accounting is also here. So many institutions will be able to fetch some funding from the foreign institutions or foreign organizations. So that's why dollar is here. And when we will be just taking the fund, then dollar will be converted into rupees as well. So that will be also configurable in the system. So after putting the status active, we will be ready to do the masters thing. So here in the masters, I have some configurations. The first configuration is of tags. We will be able to make the tags on the base. Suppose I'm just giving the real life example of the analogy. Suppose I have some files, and I'm just tagging those files, that this file related to this particular department, and I can just tag that file. And I need that file after some time. So I will say I will ask the person that please take that file. Then that person will be able to identify that file by that tag. So that is here. So we can just tag the heads. How? Suppose we have a expenditure head that is of budget construction. But in budget construction, there are so many things. In budget construction, repair and maintenance will be there. New construction of building will be there. Any kind of thing. Then, and I just want to just specify some 3-4 tags. Like suppose I just want to identify the repair and maintenance tags, repair and maintenance heads. So I will be able to use a tag, or I will be able to create a tag, and then I will be able to just tag those heads, and I will be able to fetch the reports on the basis of those tags. Now I'm just coming to the budget category. These budget categories can be defined by the university according to the practices, but as of now, government of India has given some instructions regarding those budget categories. That is, the categories will be salary, recurring, and capital. OS 31, OS 35, and OS 36 accordingly. So we can just create the budget, any budget category if there is another budget category. So this system works on the basic 4 attributes, as we all are not-for-profit organizations. So accounting for not-for-profit organizations works on the 4 pillars. That is basically expenditure, liability, asset, and income. So equity is not there because for the not-for-profit organization, equity is not needed, obviously. So Government of India has given the instructions for the expenditure heads, that is OS 31, OS 35, and OS 36. All the other type of heads can be configured here in the system according to the university practices. And now coming to the another master, that is the budget heads or subhead. We can just create the budget head subhead here. Statement type. As in the account, according to the accounting procedure, there are 2 type of statement. First is the income statement, income expenditure statement, and second is the balance sheet. in the income expenditure statement, we just need to show the income and expenditure of the institution, and in the balance sheet, assets and liabilities will be visible there in the system. Basically, assets and liabilities shows the particular financial strength of any higher education institution. Now I am coming to the next field set, that is the nature. If I am just selecting it income expenditure, you can see that only income or expenditure is visible here. If I am just selecting it balance sheet, then assets and liabilities here in the system. And class. So many institution works only on the head level. So many institution works on the subhead levels as well. So both the levels of both the systems can be configured in the Samarth, and they will be institutions will be able to use those systems according to the practices. Now after that, name is here, name of head or subhead, then code, then tag, as I have explained that the tag has been created earlier, so that those tags will be visible here. Then category, then description, carry to next year. Here, as we all are aware, liabilities and assets of the institutions can be carried forward for the next financial years. For example, suppose I'm just giving a real life example. Suppose I have given some advance to some vendor. That vendor needs to supply those things or needs to complete that work in the lieu of that advance given by the institutions. But that vendor has not completed the work, that vendor has not submitted the invoices in lieu of those particular advances. So after the completion of the financial year, those advances need to be carried forward, and those advances are the asset of the institution. How those advances are the asset of the institution? Because institution has given those advance to the vendor, and institution is liable to take the service, or the vendor is liable to give the service or goods or supply to the institution. That's why those advances are the assets of a particular institution. Now coming to the estimate applicable, as I have just explained that there are 4 types of basically pillars according to the accounting system, that is income, expenditure, liability, and assets. So expenditure, basically the estimate is being raised in the heads, expenditure heads. All the other heads needs notes need the estimate system. So we just select accordingly, and we just configure it for the estimate applicable for the expenditure heads only. Now advanced applicability. There are some expenditure heads. Yeah? Admit? Sure.
We'll do it, don't worry.
Okay. Thank you. So as we know that advanced applicability is also can be configured. So in advanced applicability configuration, we can just configure the heads that this particular expenditure head can be used to give the advance payments. So that can be also controlled in the system accordingly. And we can just keep the status active, and then the particular created heads will be visible to our system. As I am just showing you that I have created some demo head for the today's demonstration. Where I am just going, I just create the heads accordingly the place, so that I will be show that, yeah. Now due session test is the head is the category I have created, and due session head will be there. DSTS due session test head is there. So I'm just now going to the account book, and I'm just going to the settings of the account book. In the account book settings, we need to map the categories. We need to map the categories, and we will be able to give the command to the system that these heads or categories will be used in this particular account book for the particular financial year. And same for the head and subhead mapping. So I have created those 2 demo heads, and I have just mapped those to the account book. That is the university test account book. So in the university test account book, now I'm just coming to the particular demonstration that how departments will be able to raise the estimate, and how those estimate will be verified by the designated authorities, and how after the verification, how those estimates against those estimates allocations will be done. System will let you know that what will be the process ahead after first action to next action, because this is a sequential action. Suppose some department wants to raise the estimate, and after raising the estimate, that particular estimate goes to the verification authority, and the verification authority will verify that, and after the verification authority, then that particular estimate goes to the approval. So that approving authority will be able to allocate the allocation of value, or I can say that allocation amount to that particular raised estimate against that particular raised estimate. Here I'm just clicking on this budget estimates, and I'm just clicking on this request budget. I have just configured the system for the IIC. I'm just selecting the IIC, and I'm just selecting the budget category due session test. So as we all are aware that under one category there are so many heads. So we can just create the heads in any category, or we can just create the heads under this particular category. Right now I have just mapped only single head under this category, so I'm just showing you that as well. In that category, I'm just going to create the breakup for the institution. You can see I am just going to create the breakup for the category DU session test and for the department, that is the IIC, or for the organization unit, that is IIC. I am just selecting the DU session test head here. So currency is also here. So right now I am just selecting the rupee. So estimate amount currency, I am just putting it 10,000, or I can say 1 lakh. It populates here by itself. If I'm just selecting the dollar, then it will just fetch the current rate of the dollar, and the current rate of the dollar will come here itself. Then their overhead applicability is also here. Suppose I'm just raising the estimate for a project. We have a research project and management system also in the summer. So if the estimates will be raised for the particular project, then overhead is applicable there. Currently in some project it is 20% of the overall grant, and that 20% of that particular grant for the particular project will be used or will be, we can say, will be spent on the institution's development. And opening balance or closing balance applicability is also here. Suppose some institution wants to use the system, some institution wants to use the system in mid of the year. So the recent date closing balance will be the opening balance for the particular date. As we will be able to just put the value in the particular field set against the debit opening or credit opening. If there is value in the against the debit opening, then credit opening value will be 0. And if there will be the value for the credit opening, then debit opening value will be 0 accordingly. So right now I'm just deselecting it and and putting the status active. You can see that draft has been created here. And after verification, here system follows the maker checker provision. In the maker checker provision, suppose I'm just creating something, I am the maker, and then there will be a checker as well. But before that as well, system gives us the chance to see the things whether everything is all right or not, and if there is need of any rectification, then we can do that rectification before sending it for the verification. I'm just clicking on this button. It will be submitted. So as it has been submitted, so I am just going to the another window, and I will show you that how this particular estimate will be verified by the authority itself. So this particular is the basically this particular is the verifying authority for that particular raised estimate. I'm just clicking on the finance, going to the particular financial year, going to the particular account book, and going to the particular budget estimate section. Here I have raised the estimate for this category. Going to the budget backup, you can see the estimate is visible to the particular reviewing authority, or we can say verification authority. And if I just want to see the estimate, then I can just see it by clicking on the I button. And after checking whether everything is all right or not, I need to go back to the system, and by clicking on the review button here, if everything is all right, then I can just put the no query status and just send it to the just send it to the approval. And if there is any query, I'm just selecting the query raised and return to. I will be able to return it to the department who have raised it. So after rectification, it will again come back to this particular verification authority, and after review or verification, it will be sent to the approving authority or for approval. I'm just right now just selecting the no query here and putting the date here and putting the remark test and saving it. So you can see that budget estimate has been reviewed where review status is no query by this particular authority. So these budget estimate requests can be tracked accordingly. Every activity will be recorded in the system and will be visible to the user. that particular activity has been done by this user and for this particular module. So right now, I am just going to the particular this particular user, so that I will be able to verify and then I will be able to allocate. Same process. Again, I am just putting no query here, selecting the date. As it is a demo portal, so date validation is not there, so that's why date is showing back. I am just doing it in the back date as well. Now the status is review, and the status is reviewed, and it will be there in the system for the approving authority. I'm just checking where it goes to for approval. Yeah, it goes to this particular user. I'm just logging into the system by using the username.
चेकर को पता किस चलेगा कि कोई अप्रूवल पेंडिंग पड़ी हुई है, कोई ब्लिंक आता है लॉगिन करते हैं, या उसको खुद से कॉल करनी पड़ेगी कि आप प्लीज इसको अप्रूव कीजिए.
Actually, checker will be able to see the status in the recent activity, whether the review is pending or not. Yeah. And if it needs to be generate an email as well or an SMS as well, those functionalities can be also provided. We can just configure the email system or SMS system with the each and every action. Then if the action is pending, then no email or no.
After logging this on the window, home window, it can come appear.
Yeah, it can appear. But that notification system needs to be enabled for that as well. As we can see that this is a demo portal, so that is a different mechanism.
So we are using two portals, like one is PFMS, one is NPS, NSCL. So in PFMS we don't know कि कितने हमारे data operator ने हमें approval के लिए pending छोड़ा हुआ है. But NPS में whenever you log in, just उस dashboard पे ही आपको आ जाता है कि इतनी request आपकी pending है.
So basically, PFMS can be used for the payment purposes, or we can just check the expenditure payments just. But PFMS is not able to do the accounting, as PFMS is not for accounting itself, basically. So that is why Samarth is needed. And second thing, the notification system will be there, and it can be managed accordingly because it is a demo portal. So I'm just giving you the functionality overview. So if the university system is in production, then those functionalities can be activated because those needs to be activated. Suppose I'm just giving an example. If I just want to integrate an SMS system with the Samarth, then I needs to take the approval from TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. I needs to get the approval for the templates. And after the approval from the templates, I needs to get those templates whitelisted on the CDAC portal, the service provider for the SMS sending as well. So that is a process because they are using the DLT, distributed ledger technology, blockchain technology to manage those templates, so that no one will be able to abuse the system, or no one will be able to use that particular SMSs to do fraud or some scams. So that's why. So it is a demo portal, so that's why we have not integrated those things. Again, the same procedure for the approver as well. Basically, I'm just showing you that if there is any more than one verifying authority, or if there is more than one approving authority, so those can be managed in the system as well. If there are 20 verifying or 20 approving authorities, so system can go till 20 further verification processes. So we have configured this much the system. So I'm just going again to the particular raised estimate. And I'm just putting the status, no query here. And remark. Because I have configured two authorities for verification and approval. Right now, I'm just checking where it is for approval, pending for approval. I see 5,000. Again, I'm going to the same particular attribute. So here you can see that amount allocated is by default there. If you just want to allocate the amount less than to the raised amount of equal to that particular amount, then we will be able to do that. Otherwise, if I just want to raise the more amount than the particular estimate raised amount, then I will not be able to do that. File reference number here will be test. Approval date I'm just selecting is to December. Effective date. So this effective date is the effective date after which this particular expenditure head will be used for the bill processing or invoice processing. So this effective date has its significant importance here. Approved. And I'm just saying it. So it has been approved successfully. So now this particular allocation will be available for that particular department for the invoice processing. So this is all about the particular budget part of the financial supply chain management. If the participants have any questions regarding this budget management part of the particular supply chain management, then please ask the questions accordingly. IGNOU. Yes. And Delhi University is in the process to implement that because we have just
colleges को मिल जाएगा sir?
Yeah, it can be implemented in the colleges. Even recent week we have just given the sessions to all the principals of the Assam higher education institutions for a complete week. That's why this session has been scheduled for the recent Wednesday. So that's why I was not there. So do that. So colleges will be able to maintain their accounting by using this system, or higher education institutions will be able to do their internal accounting. So any level of accounting can be touched by using this system. We can touch any level of accounting.
What is the difference between accrual accounting and cash accounting?
Yeah. So accrual accounting is like the projections are also involved in the accrual accounting, and in the cash basis accounting, the accounting is done only after the change when money exchanges the hands. I'm just giving an example. Suppose I'm just sending one person to procure something from the market, and I have given that person a coupon. You just take this coupon and just go to the shopkeeper and just show this coupon and takes the goods of this particular coupon value, and then submit the bill to me. So it means that particular person goes to market and procure those things and come back to me and says that this particular things I have just procured. So it means the expenditure is being recorded that this much of value. Suppose he has procured some 10 rupees value, goods of 10 rupees value. Expenditure is recording 10 rupees. Right now I have not just given any money, or I am just liable to give those 10 rupees to that particular shopkeeper. So expenditure is recorded that 10 rupees, and then I am liable to pay that 10 rupees to that particular shopkeeper. Then liability created that my organization or me, I am just liable to pay these 10 rupees to that particular shopkeeper. So liability is generated. So right now I have given the approval. Yeah, goods are okay. You just proceed for the payment. Now I have to send that particular invoice to the payment person, and payment person has done the payment. Now that liability has been discharged again, and the payment has been reported. So there are the 4 steps. First expenditure record, then liability generated, then liability discharged, and then payment. Now I am just coming for the cash. I am just giving some 10 rupees to that particular person and just sending him, just go and procure the goods of value rupees 10. That particular person goes to the market and then give the 10 rupees to that particular shopkeeper and procure the goods of value 10 rupees and comes to me. Now I am just doing the accounting. That expenditure 10 rupees, payment 10 rupees. So this is the difference between cash and accrual. Second one is cash, first one is accrual. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So, any question from online participants?
Hello.
Yes.
This is from Central University of Odisha.
Yes.
Sir, my question is recently we have implemented one module that is payroll management, and we have going through all the modules like leave management and all. So I want to just start my budget and accounts. So can you tell me which university they have already implemented this accounts module?
Sir, right now, IGNO is using this particular module in full-fledged way. And second, we have just received your request for the implementation as well. So we will just, for sure, we will send the email for the implementation very soon, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So any another question from any online participant, respected participants or any online participants? So we can just proceed to vendor management, or we can say bill tracking system. Thank you. So it is the vendor management system. Now budget has been allocated and colleges or departments have some, basically we can say power to just do the expenditure or to spend that particular allocated budget for their department or respective college. So I'm just showing you that how they will be able to raise the bills. As finance module is very big, so it will take almost 3 to 4 hours to explanation. So I'm just giving you the holistic view. So I'm just going to the purchase orders. So purchase orders can be added here in the system, that by which department or by which department of the college or university the purchase order is being generated for the particular vendor. So this is the particular one entry that, yeah, this particular institution or this particular department has generated this purchase order and assign it to this vendor. So assign that to that vendor. So accordingly, it can be managed here in the system, and it is as this is a demo portal, so we have not done the integration. Otherwise, this maybe the integration is also there. Just check. Yeah, it is there. So all the categories which are just configured in the inventory module, so will be visible here because it is also connected to the inventory module. So it works like, suppose I'm just giving you the example. Suppose there is a store in the institution and some inventories are present there in the institution. Now store institution is using those inventories, and those inventories have been consumed accordingly or have been consumed. Now just stock is just going to vanish, or we can say stock is zero now for that particular procured thing. Then this system will be able to use that, and the request, the basically purchase request comes from the store, and then purchase order will be generated accordingly. We can just configure the system. If the stock is below this number, then only purchase order can be assigned. So we can just control that as well in the system. So we just show that from this category and this budget heads, the budget head, the procurement will be done. Right now, I'm just coming to the bills. After the purchase order, the supply comes to the execution, and then bill processing starts. In the bill processing, or we can say the invoice processing, there are several parts. Excuse me. Thank you for excusing me. So in the bill tracking, or we can say bill processing part, by clicking on the add bill, we will be able to see all the attributes of a particular invoice. I'm just explaining it one by one. Organization unit, it will be the department. In case of the institution, it will be the institution. As I have just configured the budget for the particular IIC, bill approval hierarchy. So here the main thing which is very important, that is bill approval hierarchy. Why it is important? according to the procurement rules of the gadget notification of the university, or we can say constitution of the university, there are some definitions of the procurement that till 50,000 section officer will be able to just approve the bill. Above 50,000 to 5 lakhs, this particular designation AR will be able to do that. And above 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, DR will be able to do that. Above 10 lakhs, then it will goes for the financial finance officer approval. So every institution has its specific hierarchy for approval of the bills. Then it can be managed here, and here in the settings, the approval hierarchy setting is there. So we will be able to just create the particularly hierarchy type, and then we will be able to assign that particular hierarchy type to the institution's department, and that bills from that particular department will be will go for approval or verification according to that configured hierarchy. Basically, that can be managed in the system. So I'm just explaining that particular part of the bill. As I have explained, if the purchase order is available here, we can just click on this purchase order section, and then we can just select that. Otherwise, we can just skip the purchase order. Financial year is here, vendor details. We need to add all the vendor details in the system, because we can just do the analytics after the completion of the financial year, that from how many vendors we have procured the thing. So we will be able to just do the analytics that for the particular vendor as well. Suppose I'm just checking that for this particular vendor, I have just processed the invoice of this much amount. So we will be able to do that as well in the system. I will show you that functionality in the reports. Right now, I'm just selecting. Suppose I have just added a vendor. Right now, I don't need to give the particular vendor details again and again. And by clicking on this particular detail, I will be able to see all the vendor details here, for which I'm just doing the processing of invoice. Now here is the skip bill detail is also here. It's just applicable. It is some petty vouchers or some petty invoices are also there. So that's why. Otherwise, GST is very mandatory, and it is a clear mandate. But there are some vouchers like a tea voucher for 5 rupees. That particular person is not able to provide the GST number, so that's why it is there. But that is also not in practice. So on the production portals, this particular functionality will not be there. So now coming to the type of the payment. All the 3 type of payments are being handled by the system, that is part payment, final payment, and advance payment. What is the difference between these part payment, final payment, and advance payment? I'm just giving some advance to the vendor to do the work, that is the advance payment. And that vendor has done some work, and after cutting the advance, after adjusting that particular advance, the invoice comes to me. Suppose I have given the advance of 100 rupees, the invoice comes to me is of the 800 rupees. I'm just giving the 300 rupees, that is the part payment. I need to pay 400 more. And now final payment. If I am just going to pay the particular left 700 rupees, that is the final payment. So that is break even part will be the final payment itself. Then bill number of that particular invoice number, bill date of the particular invoice date, and customer copy, and bill amount without text. Now this is the most important part, because we need to follow some compliances related to this part. Suppose I'm just procuring something and invoices comes to me. So according to the rules and regulations of the financial code defined by the Indian government or defined by the different respective states, then I will to follow that this much TDS needs to be deducted, this much GST, CGST cess needs to be deducted. And if there is the provision of labor rules, according to the labor rules, we need to deduct some amount there. So that has to be paid to the labor department accordingly. If we just want to deduct that, we just want to hold the GST, because GST invoice portal is here, and B2B invoices can be just verified from the GST portal as well. So we will be able to do that as well by checking or by holding the GST. Suppose I'm just procuring something and the GST amount is of 10,000. I have just withheld that amount, and after the 3 months, I'm just checking on the GST invoice portal whether the GST has been paid by the vendor or not. And after verification that yes, this much GST has been paid by the vendor, I'm just paying that amount to that vendor. So because this point directly impacts the nation and directly impacts the state economy as well. So that's why we have just, and in the future plans, we will be just integrating this particular summer portal with that GST invoices and portal as well, because APIs are available. So we will be doing that as well. Now, as I have explained that bill amount without tax, I'm just putting it 1,000 rupees, and applicable tax. And I have just created this tax method for the demonstration purpose. any type of tax method can be created, and if there will be changing the slabs, then slabs can be maintained here as well. Now I'm just, you can see the total tax amount is 90 and invoice amount is 1090. Now I'm just putting the deduction as well. So you can say that I have selected 10% deduction. If I'm just selecting that 15% deduction, you can say that total deduction is 15% and amount is 150. So I have just configured the TDS only. Test 2, we can say TDS or we can say test 2. So there is one more compliance, that is the TDS deducted in the recent month needs to be paid by the 7th of the next month. Otherwise, the institutions will be penalized by the government. So we can just manage that compliance in the system as well. System will record that these TDS have been deducted and need to be paid to the government accordingly. And we will be able to fetch the report that these TDS deductions are yet to be paid. So here we can say that advance amount, if we can say there is advance amount, I'm just selecting, if I have just given some advance to that particular vendor, then I will be able to just adjust that advance. There are 3 cases, as I have explained. 3 cases, suppose I have given some advance to the vendor of rupees 1000 and invoices comes to me of the final amount. I'm just talking about the final amount there. So another permutation and combination will also be there. So those PNCs of this particular case can be catered by the system itself. So suppose I have just given the 1000 amount to the particular vendor and invoices comes to me is of rupees, we can say 900. Then it means vendor is liable to pay rest 100 rupees to the institutions. And those 100 rupees is the asset of the institution. So after adjusting, system will show you that these 100 rupees will be in the receivable by the institution from the vendor. That means the vendor is liable to pay those 100 rupees to the institutions. Now second case, break-even amount. Suppose invoices comes to me of the rupees 1000 itself. Then system will adjust and system will do the accounting accordingly. So and now coming to the third case will be the suppose invoices comes to me will be of the 1100 rupees. That it will adjust the 1000 advance and then it will show that these 100 rupees needs to be paid to the vendor and this is the liability of the organization to that particular vendor. And remarks as well. Then after doing it, that after saving it, the particular there is another functionality to engage vendors in the system as well. One particular email will be sent to the particular vendor email, and in that particular email, it will be written over there that you have just 3 days. This is the verification date that we will be able to set that date till this date. If vendor will verify that invoices and upload the vendor copy of that particular invoices, then this invoice can be processed accordingly. Please check whether is there any discrepancy in the particular processing amount. If there is any discrepancy, then please write to us. If discrepancy is not there, then please approve it. If vendor approves till this date, then it's okay. Otherwise, there will be the declaration that if you don't approve this particular amount by this date, then university will consider this particular amount as final amount, and you will not be able to challenge this amount at anywhere.
किस मोड में जाते हैं उनको
email will be sent to the vendors and a particular link will be there. By clicking on that link, a particular interface will be open in front of the vendor.
हर केस में होगा चाहे हम 10 रुपए का खर्चा करें 10 लाख
आप 50 पैसे का करेंगे तब
सर लेकिन कई बार उदाहरण फूल वाले से फूल नहीं कराते हैं वो क्या लिखा
then you can just
उसके भी आप पे फिर कोई
you can just do the processing accordingly. You can do that. Now coming after then that particular bill goes for approval, and after approval, see there are 3 events. First is the creation of the bill, creation of the voucher for the invoices. Second is approval of that voucher. Third is payment of that voucher. So those 3 events needs to be recorded in the system for the complete accounting. And how accounting will be done, I'm just telling you and showing you that ledgers, trial balance, and all the reports. That report is a very comprehensive part and very most important part because those reports are the output of the complete process we have just discussed. So how accounting will be done? Suppose I'm just raising a invoice and that is approved. So that invoice is of 1000 rupees, we can say. So that 1000 rupees needs to be paid to the vendor. And I have just put the bill for the approval. After the complete approval of the bill, then 2 entries will be there. Double entry accounting system. 2 entries will be there. That is the recording of the expenditure. The expenditure will be recorded in the debit mode because accounting works on what comes in and what goes out principle. So according to those principle, expenditure will be recorded in the debit mode, and then in the credit mode there will be the liability. That means this is the expenditure we have recorded, and this is the liability which is on the organization to that particular vendor. So after completion of that process, the particular bill, if these entries will be done after the approval. Now after approval, the payment, the particular voucher, or we can say bill, goes for the payment. So after completion of the payment, another two entries will be there. Another two entries, which entries? That particular discharge of the liability that is in the debit, the liability is credited. Now after payment, the liability will be in the debit mode, and particular payment will be recorded in the credit mode. How? Because when we just do the payment, we will just record that from this account we will be doing the payment according to the transaction number or according to the check, or we will need to enter that particular check number. The system will identify this is the particular head, and how we will be able to verify? There are two provisions. First provision is of the journal, then ledger. Second is of the cash book. There is the cash book system is also available here in the system, and we will be able to reconcile our cash book with the bank reconciliation statements. We can just do that for the particular day, for a particular week, for a particular 15 days, or any interval of time we can say. Now, question arises that we are just not accepting the actual interest of the bank accounts. How we will be able to do that? There is a system of receipt. We can say manage receipts is also there. So we will be able to add the receipts, and those receipts will be visible in the cash book basically. So this way we will be able to reconcile our cash books with the bank, and we will be able to see each and every transaction, and we will be able to track each and every penny for the institution. Now, after that, I'm just showing you the reports. In the reports part, here is the deduction report. We will be able to see the deductions. I have just configured 2 deduction only. For any interval of time, I will be able to see the deduction. And now, second report is also of the deduction. We can just do the check processing for the deduction. Suppose I am selecting this, and I am just selecting this particular August 1, 31st December, submitting it. 1/8, okay. Yeah. I think there is some team has put some test check on the quarter basis to find the deduction on the quarter basis. I'm just checking it. Yeah, you can see that this is the deduction available which is yet to be paid. So I am just clicking on it, just clicking on the check creation. I'm just selecting the bank account which has been added in the system itself. Now the check number, check date, and if the payment is payment is going to the vendor, then we can just select the vendor. And because we can just use that GST withheld practice as well, so that is the provision of vendor selection is also here. We can just put the remarks, and we can just select the amount, and we will be paying the deduction accordingly. Now coming to the next part of the report, that is the unpaid deduction report. We will be able to fetch the unpaid deduction for that particular financial year, for that particular time, because these unpaid deductions will be the liability for the next financial year. So in the balance sheet, we need to show the assets and the liability only. So we can just fetch that as well. Tax report, the how much tax we have paid for the particular procurement procedure. Cash book is here, as I have explained the cash book, that for particular bank we will be able to reconcile the cash book according to the system. Bill report, we can just search the bill or search the voucher. Advance report, that how many advances have been given to the vendors or employees as well. Medical advance, this advance, that advance, so many advances are there for the employees as well as vendors. So we can just track that as well. Receipts reports, how many receipts have been taken by the institutions in that particular financial year. That is the income part of that particular accounting procedure, that can be also managed. Now coming to the main accounting part, that is the journal. I will be able to see the each and every entry in the journal, that how entries can be done. I'm just showing you by taking the particular example. I have explained it. I have explained it verbally, but now I'm just showing you. Suppose this voucher comes to the institution and goes to the approval stage. Expenditure is being recorded here, and liability to this particular vendor is being created here. And now this is the expenditure again being recorded in lieu of that particular deduction we have done for that particular invoice. Liability to the authorities has been created here. Now I have paid after the approval. I have just paid that particular invoice. You can see that particular liability has been discharged. You can see that it is in the debit mode here and it is in the credit mode here. And after the payment, you can see we have recorded the payment. So debit side is equals to credit side for that particular vendor payment. But one payment is right now in the liability, that is the tax. We have just recorded the expenditure and created the liability. So you can see the tax is in the basically debit mode, and here it is in the credit mode. That liability for the tax has been discharged and the payment has been recorded accordingly. So by this way, journal will be created by itself, and system will be your accountant for your higher education institution. We don't need any accountant for that as well. And if the accountant is there in the higher education system, that he will be able to verify the entries accordingly. He will not. That particular accountant needs not to be so active to keep those entries in the tallies and all those things. Entries will be done by the system itself and can be verified by particular accountant. Now coming to the another part of that accounting aspect, that is the ledger. I will be able to fetch each and every ledger for a particular date or particular time for any instance. Ledgers will be here accordingly. It can be downloaded accordingly in the Excel or any kind of format that can be configurable and that can be provided by the system. Now coming to the next part of the report, that is the trial balance. So on the basis of the trial balance, any higher education institution will be able to generate the balance sheet. Here you can see the debit balance is equal to credit balance. It means everything is going right. If there is any discrepancy, then either the debit balance is less or more than the credit balance, or the same way, if the credit balance is less or more than the debit balance, then it means there is some discrepancy. So we need to recheck the discrepancy and we will be able to check as well. So that is all about the financial supply chain management. As I have explained, the budget management of budget part of the financial supply chain management, bill tracking or vendor management part of the financial supply chain management, and finally the accounting. So if there are any questions from the online participants, or we can say offline participants, then floor is open for the question. No, in the balance sheet there is one more part. That is the physical assets verification part. So that needs to be done by the institution itself, because we are in phase to develop that module as well. That module will be like particular verification of stock register will be maintained in the system itself. We are in that phase. After completion of that development of that phase, then the balance sheet will be generated by the system.
Sir, cash book is generated online through this.
Yeah, cash book is generated, but for the transactions which have been done in the system itself. You have to take the accrual interest receipts. If you just take those receipts or any payment comes out of the system, then that cash book can be reconciled accordingly.
There is a difference in the balances and balance does not carry. So then we will carry forward the next year. We make the correction and automatically it will adjust.
No.
This year only.
If you are in a particular financial year and if there is any discrepancy, then you will have to find that discrepancy. How you will be able to find that discrepancy?
VRS option is not there.
Sorry?
VRS.
Yeah, that is the cash book. No, you just check the cash book. You just take the and you just match that cash book with the bank reconciliation.
That you have to do outside the job.
Obviously.
Here is not the option.
It is not possible because yeah, I'm just telling you know that how it is not possible in the system itself. Suppose I'm just doing some entries, I have taken that entry, and one particular person has taken the receipt. Suppose in the bank, I need to I know that interest has been deposited on this date, and that one person has just changed the date. Then system will show you discrepancy. Then you will have to find that particular discrepancy. Suppose you are just using one single account. There will be more than 2 lakh entries for that cash book. Then you need to just identify that single amount. We are here to reduce the workload on the employees. We are not here to expand that workload. Yes, sir. Your question, please.
So the same question. General practice is that if the trade balance does not tally, balance is carried forward when the
that is the general practice of the higher education institutions, but that is not according to the rule. We need to just find out that where is the discrepancy, and we need to remove that discrepancy. How we will be able to do that? First of all, system will restrict you restrictive note to being discrepant, first of all. And if there will be any discrepancy, the system will let you know that this is the discrepancy. You will be so accountants are very much efficient to know that yeah, this discrepancy comes.
Everything is okay there. Now we have put an extra zero. Difference will be.
That we will find out now.
No, system will do the accounting. Na? You are not just doing the accounting. And if suppose, I'm just giving an example. Suppose if the discrepancy is here, and that is of, we can say that is of 1000 discrepancy. That is very minor. And now institution is on the verge to submit the balance sheet. Then manual adjustment entry provision is also here. You just go to that particular manual adjustment entry interface and just manage that discrepancy, and you put that discrepancy in miscellaneous, so that miscellaneous discrepancies to be investigated later on. Yeah, that is available in the system. We know that we are just talking from the point of view of the CA, so that is also here in the system.
So for deduction, who will just confirm that entry, like in vendor case, vendor will open its email and get it verified. And in deductions, who will do it?
In deductions as well, you are just payee of the deduction, and you are just paying those deduction to the government, and system is just restricting you to select some particular deductions. Then you just don't need to verify those deductions, because system, you are just telling the system, just cut this 10% from this particular base amount. No. You need to pay that. Exactly.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Sir,
Yes.
Sir, in just MHRD format, there are certain that schedules are there, 1 to 24.
Sorry, sir.
Sir, in annual accounts format, which is designed by MHRD for
Yes,
educational institutions, there are 1 to 24 schedules are there to forming, which are form a part of the balance sheet and income and expenditure.
Schedules are there. I know schedules are there.
So sir, that schedules exactly can be derived from this e-Samarth.
That's what I have explained, sir. Obviously, that in those schedules there are physical assets as well.
Yes.
And according to the physical assets, depreciation is also there according to the GFR rules.
Yes.
So those needs to be maintained in those schedules as well. That's why we have just restricted this system to the balance sheet, and we are in the phase of development of that system as well. After completion of that, the particular balance sheet will be generated from the system itself, because right now we just give you the heads balances on the basis of the trial balance. You will use the balances from the trial balance and put the statistics in those schedules. But for the stock verification and depreciation accounting, you need to do it on yourself, and then only you will be able to create the balance sheet according to those mandate of the government.
Sir, ये जो band system जो इसमें modeling में जो डाला हुआ है, don't you think this is ridiculous?
What?
Why?
Please show.
GEM से government का जो regulation है, within 10 days you have to make payment.
Exactly.
Vendor ने GEM के through अपना सामान हमारे को भेजा, invoice has been generated. Right? Now the procedure, whatever you have shown. Do you think the vendor is sitting idle for we people? कि मैं उसको भेजूंगा, वो email पहुंचेगा, वो OTP check करेगा, वो डालेगा, वो करेगा, मतलब what for he will do it?
That's
at times
they
do scold us like anything.
Sir, that's what I'm saying. That
10 दिन में ना ये procedure भी नहीं होता.
सर वो ना स्टेप आप एग्जाम्प्ट कर सकते हैं, उसको छोड़ सकते हैं
सर ऐसा छोड़ा नहीं जाता ना, जब आपने मॉड्यूल डाल दिया इंप्लीमेंट हो गया.
नहीं आप कॉन्फ़िगरेशन सर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन इस तरीके से कीजिए.
बात कॉन्फ़िगरेशन की नहीं है, बात ये है कि एक सिस्टम ऐसा जिसने भी जनरेट किया, आई डोंट नो, पर उसने या तो परचेज कभी की नहीं है, कभी इंटरैक्ट नहीं किया.
अभी सर यहाँ पे इग्नू भी बैठा हुआ है सर, ये प्लीज.
ना तो उसने कभी प्रोक्योरमेंट किया है, ना उसने कभी किसी से बिल जनरेट करा, ना उसने वेंडर से कभी किसी से बात करी होती, तो चार भारी सुनता वो समझ ही जाता. तो ऊपर से गवर्नमेंट का डायरेक्टिव है 10 दिन में आप बीबीटीएस नहीं कर सकते.
ठीक है, मैं
फॉरगेट अबाउट डूइंग द पेमेंट अलाउंस.
सर मैं स्पीक ना. Actually, IGNOU is here, I think, in the system, and IGNOU is using the system since 1.5 years. IGNOU has completed his balance sheet of the recent year by using this system itself.
Whatever I am saying, but I am saying ना for this procurement thing, इसका bypass होता है जो procurement section होता है वो अपना ही number डालता है अपना ही करता है bypass बना हुआ है
Sir, if the system is not being updated there in any university, that was the previous configuration.
I am talking about DU only boss. I am purchase officer है मैं day to day पढ़ता मेरा
Sir, I can understand, but that is also DU has told those instructions to develop that system itself. I think Girish sir was there, and Girish sir has told.
was there, but I am saying जिसने भी दिमाग लगाया महान आदमी है 10 दिन में पेमेंट नहीं है गिरीश सर से पहले की बात है गिरीश सर has joined in 21 ये सिस्टम का बहुत पुराना है don't take his name.
No, Girish sir has given this instruction that there will be a system to verify these things.
ये तो बात का डेवलप हुआ है मैं तो कह रहा हूँ ये तो आपका कारण
सर इसको आप एग्जाम्प्ट भी कर सकते हैं उस तरीके से कॉन्फ़िगर कर लीजिए वो हमने प्रोविजन दिया सर
मुझे हो ही नहीं रहा वो भी नहीं सकता मैं तो कई बार देख लीजिए
ठीक है सर मे बी
दिस इज द रूल ऑफ एस्ट्रोफॉल जितना देर करेंगे बस और कुछ नहीं एक सिस्टम पे
सर आप उसको एग्जाम्प्ट कर सकते हैं स्टेप को आप मुझे या फिर ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि मैं आपको दिखा दूंगा कि वो कैसे एग्जाम्प्ट होता है we don't need to do that process because system is totally configurable and that is configured according to the need and DU has configured that particular system accordingly so that can be configurable accordingly.
Obviously,
it is mandatory.
चाहे हम खुद मुंह से मांग के बताते हैं कि भाई 10 रुपए आप ये चीज कम है दीजिए करवाना पड़ेगा बिल्कुल क्लॉज इज देयर
बिल्कुल वो बट वो जैसा कि सर ने बोला पॉइंट वो बिल्कुल एक्यूरेट पॉइंट है क्योंकि 10 दिन से ज्यादा हम कर ही नहीं सकते उसको हम आगे ले ही नहीं जा सकते बट उसमें ना ये हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशन पे डिपेंड करता है कि हम उस स्टेप को रखना चाहते हैं नहीं रखना चाहते अगर कस्टमाइज अगर नहीं रखना चाहते तो उसको रिमूव कर सकते हैं इजीली रिमूव कर सकते हैं नहीं बिल्कुल मैडम बिल्कुल पॉइंट है
कोई इसका बेस नहीं
अब कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज है मैडम जो अभी भी जेम नहीं यूज करती हैं तुम जैसे कि मेरे को तो सिस्टम अभी सबके लिए देना पड़ेगा जेम अगर आप जेम यूज करते हैं तो भी आप सिस्टम आपकी नीड कैटर करे अगर आप जेम यूज नहीं करते हैं तो भी सिस्टम आपकी नीड्स कैटर करे सो दिस इज द बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट्स आई हैव डन फॉर द सिस्टम
Online participant, any more queries? All the relevant information will be given in the group itself. So we have to every moment. Online participant, if you have any queries, otherwise we are going to end the session. Okay, I think there is no more queries there. So thank you, Shahini. We are very thankful to you. Just a moment. Giriji, I would like to facilitate. You would like to, huh?
Yeah. What do you would like to?
क्या facilitate करें?
अगर ये करना मैं लेके जाऊँगा मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है.
सर एक फोटो दे दो.
ये सबसे सुंदर ब्रांड दिया ना बड़े गंदे गंदे
then we will meet tomorrow on the online participant.
तो डांट के बोलो यहाँ से बोलो
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
स्टार्ट